All right, let's do this. A little Monday night football action, a little hard bowl action. Pretty fired up for this one. We got a great Monday night game. You know, we were talking about it a little bit yesterday, but good to get back in here for a game stream right before Thanksgiving. Last night here in Georgia for a little bit. Maybe talk about this a little bit later, but oh shoot. My computer volume is up. Whoopsies. But anyways, lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah. Going back to Fargo tomorrow night for Thanksgiving. I almost said Thanksgiving break. I mean, I'm not in school anymore. I have a few days off of work, and I took my last day of PTO for going home and everything. But it is good to be back in here. You guys know the drill. I don't even need to say it, but I like to say it. Gets me in the zone a little bit. If you're in here, feel free to say hi in chat. Looks like we've already got Pear Champ in here. Let's go. Saying, hey, Doc, hope you're doing well. I am doing well. How about you, Pear Champ? How about that game yesterday, huh? You picked a pretty good game to go to. Packers looking pretty good. Hey, Josh Jacobs, right? At least as far as fantasy goes, had his best game of the year, right? 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards. He's now third in the league in rushing yards. Man, that is... That is why you bring him in, man. Running backs do matter. Who would have thought a good running back in Matt LaFleur's offense would be good? But good to have you in here, Pear Champ. How about that game for the Packers? Got Caden in here. Welcome to the stream, Caden. Good to have you in here, fellow Packers fan as well. I mean, I might as well say the same message to you. How about those Packers, huh? But saying category Dr. Pigskin subscribers go. We got Pear Champ, we got you, we got Henry, we got Stupidity, we got, dude, I'm gonna feel so bad when I forget someone. We got Game Solved, we got Mile Marker. Need I go on? We got both the Jacks, we got Gabe. I mean, we got Oscar, we got Parker, you know. Again, there's probably Daddy Messi, right? Laywell. I mean, anyways. We'll give them all their due welcome once they get in here. But nice little callback right there to a couple of weeks ago. Parachamp saying, had a great time at the game. Packers smashed the 49ers. Jacobs with the hat trick. Yeah, man. You know, the weather was it raining? I didn't catch a lot of that game. I was going back and forth between that one and Cardinals Seahawks, which ended up being a little bit closer. That one was a bit of a slow game yesterday, which kind of surprised me. Not a lot of offense in that one, but yeah, Packers laying the wood big time. We got Ron Arnold in here too. Welcome to the stream, Ron Arnold. Good to have you back in here. Saying, I hate that having a running back was ever thought of as unimportant. You know, and I do have a take about that, right? I think the best way to look at it is running backs don't matter. I mean, I think that's always been phrased poorly, right? It's a little bit too harsh to the good running backs, right? Obviously, running backs do matter. Obviously, having a good running back is a good thing, right? I think the main crux of that argument is that it's not necessarily a prerequisite for a good running game. Like, you don't need to have an elite running back, and you can still have a good rushing attack, right? Like, that being said, though, if you put a good running back in a good rushing attack right behind a good offensive line with good offensive scheme, obviously things are going to go crazy, right? I mean, we've got a prime example of that here tonight with Derrick Henry, right? Derrick Henry maybe devalued a little bit too much because he's a little bit older, right? And you don't want to pay a premium on a running back, but I tell you what, man, you put him on a good offense like the Ravens, yeah, he's still going to play pretty well, right? So, but I am with you. I think that phrase maybe went a little bit too far. And even though there may be still aspects of that philosophy that I can agree with to an extent, right? Like if you look at how Jordan Mason's done on the 49ers when CMC is out. But for the most part, I mean, come on. It's kind of crazy that most people are just Derrick Henry, we're not interested. Saquon, we're not interested, right? That's crazy. So... Parachamp saying it wasn't much rain, barely a drizzle. Well, that's good, right? Staying dry, right? Keeping cool a little bit. Nothing wrong with that. Obviously, downpour might make for a fun story, might be a pretty cool experience, but I could also see 3 hours of that might be pretty rough. But Caden saying, I don't want to hear about Brock Purdy being out either. Shanahan is good enough of a coach to steal a few without him, i.e. Malik Willis's MVP case. This dude and Malik Willis. No, you're right. I mean, let's be honest, right? Honestly, if we're being real, the Packers would have won that game even if Purdy played. The Packers hung 38 on them, right? Brock Purdy being out was honestly the least of the 49ers' concerns, right? That defense got whooped on, man. That defense got absolutely whooped on. I think even if Bosa played, like, they're just getting kind of thin on the defensive side of the ball. They can't really stop the run. And like I was saying yesterday, man, hey, I'm not always right. And believe me, there was some stuff I said yesterday that did not age well. But like I said yesterday, right? They played last year in the playoffs. Packers ran the ball very well on the 49ers. Could have easily won that game. Fast forward a year, 49ers defense a little bit worse. Yeah, I'm not shocked that like Josh Jacobs went crazy, right? So no, I don't think that like Purdy being out is a legit excuse. You could run that game back today with Purdy out there. The Packers are still probably winning in my opinion. But Ron Arnold saying it was such a repeated hot take on all the big commentary shows for so long. Oh, yeah. I mean, it again, maybe we did running backs don't matter too close to the sun. Believe me, my favorite team, the Minnesota Vikings, did that maybe a year ago. It was like, okay, letting Dalvin Cook go is fine, right? But maybe Alexander Mattison as the lead dog isn't the answer. And like, you could still bring in someone. And I think they learned their lesson bringing in Aaron Jones this year, right? You know, it's good to see him have a good game again yesterday. So I think a lot of teams are starting to maybe ease back a little bit, right? And you look at the success of Bijan and Jahmyr Gibbs, really high draft picks at the running back position the past few years. They've been great, you know. So I do think that we're seeing nature heal a little bit, right? That's good. That's good. I like running back, so I have no issue with that whatsoever. Parachamp saying, I thought the Cardinals offense would have been more productive, but they fell flat on their face. Texans could prove the prophecy if they lose a couple and the Colts win out on their schedule. Oh, the Colts, dude. I'm so sick every week, man, right? Like, I feel like, I don't know if any of you guys have seen the show Better Call Saul, right? But I feel like Chuck McGill with the Colts. It's like, I am not crazy, right? Like I am not crazy for thinking they could have won the division this year, man. Houston is falling flat on their face, right? Houston is like begging someone to take the division from them. I know they've still got 7 wins, but bro, they lost to the Titans. They lost to the Titans yesterday, right? I mean, I don't know, man. They're going to win the division. I still think they will, right? I mean, they swept the Colts. The Colts could not pull off the shocker yesterday, right? I'll maybe talk about that game more in a little bit, whatever. I was pretty locked into that game, I can't lie. But I think Houston will be safe. Then again, I said that about Jacksonville last year. I was like, oh, I mean, Jacksonville's got too big of a cushion. They'll be okay. And they beat the Texans, and that didn't happen. So who knows, man? They're like keeping the door open. That's what I'll say. It is honestly crazy that like it's still even possible that Houston could not win the AFC South with how much the rest of the division has underachieved, at least in my estimation. I thought maybe the Jags or the Colts would put up more of a fight, but Parachamp saying, also the Bears having another blocked field goal and losing an OT. The NFC North seems to be the best division. Oh, it most certainly is. You know, and as I was saying yesterday, right? Those Vikings-Bears games, particularly in Soldier Field, just never seem to be normal ever, right? I mean, least crazy Vikings-Bears game. I mean, come on. First onside kick recovery in like the new kickoff era, right? First ever onside kick recovery with the new kickoff rules. Of course, it was in that game, right? Of course there was another blocked field goal. Of course it went to overtime. Of course this happened and that happened. I mean, it's Vikings Bears and Soldier Field, man. I can't say I'm shocked. But speaking of the Jaguars, welcome to the stream, Game Solved. Good to have you in here. Saying don't sleep on the Jags winning the AFC South. That would be the coolest thing ever, dude. I can't lie. Could you imagine the Jags doing the complete opposite of last year? They win out on their schedule. They shock the world. They make the playoffs. Doug Peterson saves his job. Maybe. I don't know. I guess I don't know if the Jaguars fans, would you take that? You'd probably take that, right? Making the playoffs. Doug Peterson saves his job. Like, it'd be fun enough. But we'll see. Oh, man. Joao Marks. Oh, yeah. Okay, I lied. I totally lied. Shout out Joao. Good to have you back in here, by the way. I'm sure you'll be coming in clutch at halftime when we do our grid, and maybe a quiz or two from Game Solved, which that'll be pretty fun to do as well. But I think you're right. I think they did recover a Brandon Aubrey onside kick. So just kidding. Second onside kick under the new rules. Oh, that kills my nerve, but it's chill. Thank you for the correction, though. I actually completely forgot about that. I'm trying to remember what game that was from, but I do remember hearing about that. Ron saying Stroud had a crazy Superman regular season last year. I think people talking him up were due for a reality check. Oh, yeah. I mean, you know, and even going into this year a little bit, like first few games, and I won't lie, maybe I bought in a little bit. I'm still really high on Stroud, right? I still think he's a great quarterback. I still think he's got every throw in the bag. He's a good playmaker. But you know, the supporting cast around him has tanked a little bit. Some of that interception luck that I'd maybe talked about in the offseason coming home to roost a little bit. But I think still, like, if you want to put him at like QB 8 or 9, I think that's completely fair. But there were some people, I didn't go quite this far. Not to like, I don't even know. Like, who cares? Maybe this is straw man or whatever. There was some people that are like, oh, he's coming for Mahomes. Oh, is he QB 3? It's like, okay, hold on. He's an excellent player. And I say all this, like, him being QB8 is awesome. Like, if you're the Texans, like, that is still a home run of a pick. I still think he's a fantastic player, you know, but some of it is circumstantial, like the offensive line stinking, Nico Collins being out, Bobby Slowick kind of getting exposed as fraudulent a little bit, but some of it has been on Stroud, too. He hasn't been quite as sharp, like, this past month. Like, that can be true as well. Absolutely. But Game Solve saying, actually, good point. I do not want Doug Peterson back. Yeah, I get that. Oh, it was the Ravens game. Thank you, Parachamp. That's right. The Cowboys took an onside kick to the house in the Commanders game. I saw that. That was hilarious. How about that, man? Maybe I'm a little worried about the Commanders. A little bit. Also, Joao, I'm going to assume what you just said there. I'm so scared. I'm going to, like, butcher this. That's got to be Portuguese, right? A noise. I don't know if I like completely screwed that up or not, but anyways. Ron saying exactly the almost intercepted passes that went his way last year aren't this year. Oh yeah, right. I mean, a big narrative was, wow, like his ADOT was like 9.2 yards and he only had 5 picks. It's like, okay, but he could have easily had 10. And that's not bad necessarily. Like, I feel like 10 is a perfectly reasonable number to be at if you're pushing the ball downfield like that. Like, if you're the Texans, you'll live with those 10 picks because he'll make enough throws to make up for it. But it's like, okay, he's probably not 2011 Aaron Rodgers, you know? We got Hitchhiker's Pie in here. Welcome to the stream, Hitchhiker's Pie, saying, morning all. I'm going to assume that you are in a time zone that is not in this country, not to dox you. I mean, it's not like if I'm like, oh, he's from Europe, that like people are going to know where you live. Plus I feel like chat's chill. We won't hunt you down. Sorry. But let's go. All right. 1:15. Well, I appreciate you spending your early morning here with me. I really appreciate it. Shout out Hitchhiker's Pie. Let's go. Joel saying close enough. Yeah, believe it or not. I struggled with the Portuguese phrase, but I'll work on it. I'll have to get in the lab, maybe get some Duolingo going. Anyways, we've got a football game here. We've got a football game on tonight. We've got the Ravens, we've got the Chargers, we've got the Harbowl, right? Oh, brother, right? The battle of brothers. Oh, and we got 2 good teams out here now. 2 7-win teams. Who would have thought? Who would have thought we'd be at this point in the year, almost December, and technically, the Chargers have a better record than the Ravens. That's just incredible to me. Oh, man. We got 2 fantastic quarterbacks, right? I could give the same speech I gave last week, right? Quarterback play is as good as it's ever been, and tonight we're going to see, Justin Herbert and Lamar Jackson. My goodness. Oh, man. We saw Herbert show out last week. I think we might see Lamar show out again, right? He's always been someone to show up on Monday Night Football. We got intriguing defenses, at least. The Ravens defense hasn't necessarily been that great. I feel like they've probably underachieved a little bit. And then you've got the Chargers defense that's really overachieved, right? So an interesting comparison right there. We've got some talented running backs out there. Obviously, we've got Derrick Henry. We got J.K. Dobbins on the other side. It's in SoFi. And you know what? I've been swinging with some upsets. I've missed on a few of them, but I'm taking the Chargers tonight. I really am. I don't know, man. This Ravens defense really does scare me. They have been getting picked apart through the air. Herbert's playing great football right now. And on the other side of the ball, I have no doubt that Lamar might be able to match Herbert blow for blow. Absolutely, right? But I do think, I don't know, this Chargers pass rush, like they've got some guys, right? Bosa, Mack, Thule, right? They've got a nice rotation of guys. Jesse Minter's been doing a great job at DC. And I think, I don't know, maybe this pass rush gets home a little bit versus this Ravens offensive line that's been a little bit better, but they're still just figuring things out, right? They still have been, just trying to find the right combination. It hasn't been as good as years past. I'm going to go Chargers. We'll say Chargers win a fun one here, 28-25. Here we go. Here we go. Let's get this pulled up right here. Who's got it better than us, man? Nobody. Nobody's got it better than us. In the spirit of Thanksgiving, it's so fitting, right? On the holiday, all about giving thanks, sharing gratitude. We're watching the family whose motto is, who's got it better than us? Nobody. Let's go. Here comes the Chargers offense to start things out. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. Got to welcome some people in here. We've got Schroeder Iceman in here. Welcome back to the stream, Schroeder. Good to have you in here. We've got Lovato in here. Welcome to the stream, Lovato. We got Silly back in here. Welcome to the stream, Silly. Let's go. We got an active chat here. I'm loving it. I'm loving it. All right, let's see what this first play is in store. We'll catch up with chat here in a little bit. Let's watch this first play, though. Joe needs 50 fantasy points between Q and J.K. Dobbins. It's possible. Ooh, it might be hard. We might need a big Quentin Johnston game. Maybe he gets loose versus this Ravens secondary. But Lovato saying, bro, why are there more Brazilians here than me? I swear we're everywhere. Hey, that Brazilian NFL fan base, man. Love to see it growing, right? Let's grow the game internationally, right? Hey, that Brazil game. Feels like so long ago, right? But the crowd was awesome for that. It's cool to see other countries get into the NFL. Welcome Brazilians. Let's go. Let's go. Parachamp talking about the Commanders collapsing. Yeah, I mean, yeah. We'll see. We'll see about them. They still have a fairly light-looking schedule, but oh, there's Ladd. He had a big game last week. 2nd and 10. They're getting Ladd involved early. I believe that was a career high for him in receiving yards last week. 17 yards right off the rip for Ladd. Man, he can play. He can play, right? It's so funny to see him get typecasted as I don't know, just like your average white receiver, Wes Welker, the Wes Welker comps. Those are so funny. Ladd's an athlete. Ladd can move, Ladd played outside a lot at UGA. He's not just a slot only guy. He's not just like a Danny Amendola type. Is that Gus Bus? Yeah. Schroeder asking who wins the NFC West. It might be the Seahawks, honestly. That's what Ron is saying too. Man, that was a big win for them yesterday. That really was. Cardinals, I mean, literally every team is still in the mix. I am starting to get a little worried about the 49ers, though. I do think it might not be the old guard this year, as in the 49ers or the Rams. I think it might be between the Cardinals and Seahawks. I don't know, man. Oh, the Rams lost too. I was a little sad about that, but they just got punched in the mouth, man. They're just too weak up front. They struggle in the red zone. That might do them in. As much as I love Stafford and those receivers and even that defensive line, they're just not quite a complete enough team, I don't think. And we've just seen that type of game from the Rams too many times this year that I don't think they can go on a run like they did last year. But Herbert does finally have a decent team around him. It's good to see, right? Oh, it was not his fault for so long. And believe me, I sometimes had my fun with that, right? It's a funny little joke, but also it was absolutely true. And it is kind of crazy to see, even with a decent roster around him and good coaching, wow, the Chargers are 7-3 now. And Herbert's been balling, dude. He's been balling. Kind of reminded the world just how athletic he was last week too, right? He can run, right? He's a great quarterback. He is a great quarterback. We have a Minnesota fan from Rio Grande do Sul. That's awesome. I hope I said that right. Let's go. That is so sick. That is so sick. Well, welcome. We appreciate you. Appreciate having you in here. Hitchhiker's Pie saying, hilariously, this is Herbert's highest turnover-worthy play rate this season per PFF. Really? That's crazy. Interesting. I suppose, honestly, the more I think about it, that makes sense, right? Because Herbert's thing has always been, oh, maybe he plays it a little bit too safe, right? Especially these past few seasons. I mean, you could tell he just did not really have a lot of faith in the team around him, right? He was a little bit too robotic, and I get he's a great processor and stuff like that, but it's like, man, you've got that arm and you're that good of an athlete. It would be nice to just have you cut it loose some a little bit, and we have seen that a little bit more. All right, I believe it. He also was flirting with disaster the second half of that Bengals game last week, so... But that is still crazy, though. He's playing so well, but he's like maybe putting the ball in harm's way a little bit more. I don't think the Chargers care, though. Oh, see now Herbert's got plot armor. His pass got tipped and caught. Look at that. Now Herbert's catching the breaks, and it's Will Dissly. Let's go. I have him going in one of my leagues today. Kyle Pitts on a bye. Had to go get Will Dissly off of waivers. There we go. There's a catch right there. Bang. No, he's like almost 6'6". I don't think he's quite 6'6", but he is massive. He's hard to bring down. He's like lanky too. Like he's lankier than like Josh Allen, you know. He's kind of got that Trevor Lawrence build a little bit. Or maybe Trevor Lawrence has the Herbert build. But João is from Sao Paulo, but lives in Piauí. I hope I got that right. He's a Seahawks fan. We got a few Seahawks fans in here. Let's go. Chargers barely handled Joe Burrow. The Chargers have not played a lot of elite quarterbacks besides Mahomes, who hasn't been himself. Oh, yeah, the strength of schedule for the Chargers is something you should consider when like looking at how their defense stacks up. But it's still been a pretty good unit so far, right? Well coached. They've still got some guys. But yeah, that is fair. Herbert's going to run. Touchdown. Wow. What an opening drive for the Chargers. What is Herbert doing? Oh, is he getting the ball to Jim? What is he doing? Is he getting the ball to Jim? He just like ran back with the ball. Oh, that's sick. He's holding on to the ball. Hold on. Maybe he didn't give it to Jim. Who knows? He was protecting that ball, but look at Herbert having fun, dude. Look at him having fun. Let's go. We might be in for a game here. Let's go. I love it. Opening drive, touchdown for the Chargers, Justin Herbert. There he is again, right? Just daring to take off, daring to create a little bit. Coloring outside the lines. That's something that has been missing from his game. It's been here this year, man. 7-0 Chargers. How about it? Ron's got the Chargers too, but don't think it'll be a blowout. And actually, I love Derrick Henry so much. I want to be wrong. I respect that. King Henry, one of the GOATs, right? I mean, the last of a dying breed. How many more guys are we going to see built like him at the running back position? I mean, maybe more, I guess, but like, how many guys are going to handle the workload that he's handled? Maybe that's the real question, right? The counting stats, his career rushing yards accumulating like that. He is a very, very rare player in today's NFL. And he's so sick in those Ravens uniforms. He looks so sick. It's just fitting. It's just fitting. That is a crazy... Oh, here's a crazy stat. I thought you said crazy start. Crazy stat from Ron. Herbert has thrown 247, 248 now completions since his last pick. Well, knock on wood right there. That's an Aaron Rodgers type of stat right there. Pearchamp needs 13 points from Dissly and Zay Flowers. Also ended up benching Watson, who got only 0.4 points. Watson should have had the go-ahead touchdown, but dropped it. Well, I would say that's good that you benched him because he did kind of have a stinker yesterday. And yeah, that drop was bad. I immediately thought of week 1 of the 2022 season, Vikings versus Packers. Very first target of Christian Watson's career. Beautiful deep ball from Rodgers. That would have been a touchdown, but Watson dropped it. I remember seeing that being like, all right. Welcome to the season. But then the Vikings ended up winning big. Justin Jefferson went crazy in that game. First game of KOC's career as a Vikings coach. Ron saying Herbert taking the slide pretty early into that run. He's not risking injury. Yeah, I respect that, right? I mean, man, could you imagine if he got banged up, right? Got to protect yourself. Sometimes it's not as fun. You want to see Herbert just like lower the shoulder, run a guy over, right? Or with any quarterback, but, you know, got to protect yourself. Don't want to end up like Cam Newton. Oh, still makes me sad. But that is a great start to this game, isn't it? Lovato saying, I think we're never going to see another player like King Henry again. At least in the next few decades, that combination of strength and longevity is LeBron James type level. Oh, absolutely, right? I mean, just like, he's been so good at the running back position for so long, right? If you adjust for like position inflation or whatever, it would be like LeBron being like one of the best players in the NBA at like 40 years old or however old he is now, right? Or like Theo Ash, who I don't know, you guys are probably familiar with him, right? Has compared Derrick Henry to like Tom Brady a lot, where it's like the longevity is just insane, right? It's just crazy. You know, and you appreciate that longevity more when, to your point, Ron, looking at someone like Aaron Rodgers, right? Like Rodgers, how old is Rodgers now, right? He's got to be like, what, 41 maybe? It's going to look weird on my screen. Whatever. When I type this in. Rodgers is 40, right? Tom Brady won a Super Bowl at 43, you know? Like, that's just crazy. Like, imagine Rodgers winning the Super Bowl 3 years from now. Forget right now, 3 years from now. And Brady at 44 finished second in MVP voting, right? 4 years later, imagine Rodgers being second in MVP voting. I mean, that's just insane, right? I mean, Rodgers even being in the NFL right now at 40 is crazy, you know, but still, yeah. Seeing like some of these other careers play out, it truly is crazy longevity of some of these guys. Or how about like Big Ben a few years ago, right? You know? All right, let's see what kind of answer the Ravens have. Designed run for Lamar to start things off. Didn't really like the hit right there. I get that. But Ravens playing from behind. I feel like they've done that a little bit more this year. Not necessarily even playing from behind, but just like, again, you know, their defense, best in the league last year, arguably, right? Like, just no matter what sort of metric you use, no matter how you sliced it up, just a dominant defense last year. They've been like near the bottom in a lot of categories this year. Their secondary has been getting picked on. Their pass rush isn't quite as good. They're still getting a lot of sacks, but it doesn't seem like they're getting home as much, right? Have to imagine a lot of that. Mike McDonald, they lost some talent in free agency, and it's just hard to consistently be good on defense, you know? Some of that stuff boils down to turnovers, which, you know, not to get like too nerdy, but like, you know, there's variance in that, right? It's a lot harder. Defense is not as static usually. That's a good way to put it, right? It's a bit more dynamic. But those Chargers unis are fire. All of them are, dude. They've got the best uniforms in the NFL. I really think so. They're all great. Ooh, good catch. Aguilar. What a catch. We got a flag down, though. Pearchamp asking if I think Saquon has an honest chance at MVP. Oh, absolutely. Leg whip. Wow, that's a call you don't see often. Sorry, I'll get to that question in a second. I just had to acknowledge the leg whip. That's crazy. Anyways, I think he does have a chance. I still think they're probably going to give it to a quarterback, right? I mean, that's just the reality of the NFL. And like, we've had some good quarterback seasons this year. Like, if Lamar or Josh got it, like, okay, that's probably legit, right? Saquon could be like third, though. I mean, he has been just a game changer for this Eagles offense, right? I mean, and how about Derrick Henry? Like, maybe he's got a chance too. You could argue like, oh, maybe he's been getting hurt by like having Lamar on the same team, and that's legit. But I think he's got a chance. He is going to have like a crazy stretch to close the season out, though, right? If you look back to like Adrian Peterson's MVP season, he was the last back to win MVP. Right? He had 200-yard games in like the final 4 games of the season, and he carried an otherwise terrible Vikings team to the playoffs, right? Like, Saquon might need to do something like that. Saquon might need to actually get like 2,000 yards to have like an actual shot. And Derrick Henry got 2,000 yards even a few years ago, and he didn't really have much of a chance at MVP. I know he got like some chatter, but they gave it to Rodgers. You know how it is. But it'd be cool, though. It'd be cool to see another running back win MVP. I'll just check it down right there. Man, Ravens facing a 3rd and very long now. That penalty kind of killed them a little bit. They were looking decent. Granted, it was only a few plays on offense, but, you know, they had the nice catch to Aguilar that got nullified, and then they get moved back instead. 3rd and 20. Good luck. Here you go. 3rd and 20. We got Green Gandalf in here. Let's go. Welcome back to the stream, Green Gandalf. Good to have you in here. Saying Harbaugh confused about the leg whip. I think we all were. I was like, did I hear that right? Leg whip? I'd say you almost never see that. I don't know that I've ever heard that call be made before. I mean, I'm sure it's a rule and stuff, but rare penalty cited. Lamar going to go deep. He's just going to throw it away. There you go. Chargers get a stop. Chargers get a stop on the opening drive. And you know what? Dare I say, it's a little loud there in SoFi. That's been a problem for them in the past, right? You get these primetime games, and it's roaring loud for the other team, right? Fans will take over SoFi. Past few weeks, it's kind of been loud. We've seen a lot of SoFi primetime games, especially for the Chargers. You know, it's been a tough transition for them breaking into LA, right? Had a lot of salty San Diego people, which I totally get. This is not me taking a shot at San Diego. I get it. You got your team ripped away from you, right? You know. But they've struggled to, like, make their presence maybe a little bit more than the Rams did, who at least played here before, and then the Rams won a Super Bowl, right? But here you go. The Harbaugh effect is real. Like, there is some very real excitement in LA about the Chargers. I bet you the NFL is like, oh, thank goodness. Finally. Finally. Ron saying leg whips don't get called that often. I could see why I'd be confused. Oh, yeah. Harbaugh doing the impossible, creating Chargers fans. It's a real thing, man. I mean, I don't know. Did you hear that roar of the crowd when Lamar threw that away on 3rd and 20? I don't know, man. I don't know. Better days ahead for the Chargers, potentially. Ron saying the games the Ravens have had trouble winning are the ones where Henry isn't utilized enough. Oh, yeah. I mean, you even think about, like, week 1, that Chiefs game, first drive, just dominant with Derrick Henry, right? Just running it down Kansas City's throats. And then they kind of went away from that a little bit. It was a lot of Justice Hill. It was a lot of Lamar runs. And some of that was, you know, Kansas City started winning the line of scrimmage and the Ravens started facing a lot of longer distances, down in distances, right? But, you know, you got to feed the beast. You got to feed the king. Pearchamp saying, I mean, St. Louis has been the most screwed over city by the NFL, losing the Cardinals and the Rams. Oh, yeah, right? I mean, it just sucks to see, like, a team leave their city, you know? I mean, I couldn't even imagine that. If, like, the Vikings moved, you know, that would be criminal. I would lead protests, but hopefully, we won't see any more teams like move cities right now. We might see expansion at some point, but like, I don't think the London Jaguars are going to be a thing. I remember when that was a rumor for the longest time, right? Nah, they're going to stay in Jacksonville. You know, for as much as Shad Khan has maybe done not so well, he at least seems committed to like keeping the Jags in Jacksonville, and they've got that new stadium coming. So there's at least that, right? Now, the Ravens do have that problem where they get a little bit too cute, right? And that was a big reason why they brought in Derrick Henry in the first place. I mean, you think about the AFC Championship game from last year, right? The Ravens just barely ran the ball, right? So you're the Baltimore Ravens, man. You're a power-based team, right? Even with Lamar, even with this new spread offense, and yeah, it's nice to throw the ball around the yard with Lamar, and he can totally do that, but man, that Chiefs run defense was a little bit vulnerable last season, and they just didn't really seem to take advantage of it. They had like 6 handoffs the whole game, you know, right? That's why they brought in Derrick Henry, but they still seem to run into that problem sometimes. And I think Todd Monken's a great offensive coordinator. He's done wonders for Lamar's career, right? Finally giving him like a quarterback-friendly offense. But sometimes you just got to run the football with Derrick Henry, you know? Herbert collapsing pocket, gonna go down. Ravens getting home. Man, that's big for Baltimore. Getting the Chargers in a 2nd and long, right? Taking away that running game. And I know, talked about it last week, right? The Chargers might not run the ball as much as you think. If this is the first Chargers game that you've watched in a while, except for maybe last week, right? But like, if you haven't been like super locked in with the Chargers and you're just kind of thinking about how they talk this offseason and, oh, Greg Roman's their OC and Harbaugh's there, you might be thinking, man, it's going to be 25 carries at J.K. Dobbins and Herbert's going to barely throw the football. But truth is, really, ever since their early bye week, they've been one of the pass-heaviest teams in the entire league. Most pass-heavy teams, you know what I mean. Now there's a screen going nowhere. It's 3rd and 13. 3rd and 13. Ron saying I can't really see European NFL teams, but I could see one from Canada easily. The NFL does seem to want to expand to Europe, though, don't they, man? Roger Goodell really wants to have a team in England. He wants it badly. But I could see Canada. Toronto would be tough because I feel like the Bills have such a stranglehold in that market. What about Vancouver? That might be tough with Seahawks, though. That's tough. What would be the Canadian city that an NFL team would go to? Maybe it would just be Toronto, but... Oh my goodness. First down Chargers. Are you kidding me? That was a seed from Herbert. There's Ladd again. Oh. Just sitting down. Herbert rips it. Man. First down Chargers. That looked like it was a dead drive from the first play when they took that sack. That's crazy. Now they'll go to Dobbins. Dobbins revenge game. I mean, there's a lot of crossover between these two teams, as you'd imagine, right? I mean, hey, speaking of Greg Roman, right? He was the Ravens OC before Todd Monken. Oh, another, well, I guess maybe not another penalty, but penalty. Another thing pushing the Chargers back. Joe saying, my dad is in Florida and he wants to catch a game. Which do you think is the better game or experience? Tampa versus the Raiders, Dolphins versus the Jets, or Jags versus the Texans? Well, I could sell you on any of those, right? Jags versus Texans. Well, I guess Trevor's not playing anymore. I was going to say great quarterback play on both sides. Honestly, here's what I'll say. I had a great time in Tampa. I went to a game in Tampa about a month ago. Shout out Gabe, right? Works with the Buccaneers, right? One of my good friends, good friend of the channel as well, right? Went to go catch the Bucs Falcons game in Tampa. That was a great experience. Had a lot of fun. Cool stadium. The pirate ship is sick. And I tell you what, the Bucs are still kind of alive in that playoff race. They're playing for something, right? On the Raiders side of things, you get to see Brock Bowers. I don't know. I'll say Tampa and the Raiders. How about that? Herbert does throw lasers. Ron saying penalty on a run. It's a hold almost all the time. Yeah, I believe it. Madden be like, Trevor practiced today. Oh, let's go. Game solved, giving the Jags Texans some love. I've been to the Jags Stadium too, actually. Not for a Jags game, but for the UGA Florida games. Wow, I'm struggling to talk today. It was a long day at work. Well, there you go. Hey, believe me, I'm here for the Jaguars too. I would say those would be my top two picks, but I'll give Tampa some love. I had a good experience at Tampa this year. There you go. Let's go. Parachamp would say Jags versus Texans would be the most competitive game if Lawrence comes back. You know, it might be. And those games they've always got a little bit of weirdness to them, don't they? Just a little bit of weirdness. Here we go. 3rd and 5. Ravens loading up on front. Herbert's got some time for a little bit. Oh, what a hit. Nate Wiggins popped him. 4th down. There you go. Good response from the Ravens defense. Giving up a demoralizing 3rd down conversion on the first set of downs. Coming back, getting the stop on 3rd down here. There's Jalen Reagor. Getting popped by Nate Wiggins. Man. Yeah, maybe he was a little late. That's what Troy's saying right now. Oh, now we've got a penalty. That's got to be on the Chargers, right? That'd be a disaster if it was on the Ravens. Give him a 1st down. Yeah, full start. We got Samuel Neeson in here. Welcome back to the stream, Samuel. Good to have you in here. Saying T-Law might ruin the Jags' perfect tanking dynasty. You're talking about their crazy run of 1st overall picks, potentially? Man, could you imagine if they got the 1st overall pick again? Oh, Trevor Lawrence is just simply too good for tanking, man. Oh, what are we supposed to do? He's just too good. You can't tank with him. That's how much of a beast he is. He is the prince that was promised. But yeah, if the Jags got the 1st pick, what would they do? Would they just say screw it and go Travis Hunter? Or you think they'd trade down, try and take like an offensive tackle or something? That might be the wise, responsible move to make. Travis Hunter would be pretty sick, though. They do need corner. Actually, no. Maybe they should take Travis Hunter. They do need corner, and they could use another receiver. Honestly, Travis Hunter might be like the perfect pick for the Jags. He could play corner, and then you mix him in on offense. Just give him another option, right? I don't know. Maybe I've talked myself into Travis Hunter on the Jaguars. Travis Hunter on the Cowboys would be fun, though, too. I was thinking about that last night. I was like, come on. That would be pretty fun if Travis Hunter is on the Cowboys. That would be entertaining. It might not be perfect. They might not win the Super Bowl. Right. They've still got a long ways to go outside of Travis Hunter. And honestly, they don't even really need corner that much. They could use another receiver, though. But it'd be fun. It would be a lot of fun. Parachamp says, want to go to the draft order and needs of teams at halftime. I could see the Jags trading down with a quarterback needy team. I don't mind that. That's not a bad idea, Might be doing a little Sporkle quizzes as well. I know we teased that a little bit yesterday. I don't hate that, though. Looking at the potential draft order, talking about some team needs. I don't hate that. That might be kind of fun. We could do a little bit of both. Ron saying, man, we're seeing a lot of yellow laundry this early. Yeah, penalties coming out. I did not catch who the ref for this game was. I'm sure they've shown him already. I don't know whose crew it is, but yeah, a couple of flags on both sides, it seems like. Hopefully it doesn't slow down the game too much. Hopefully we don't see any like egregious calls or anything. Lovato asking, is Bill Belichick going to coach the Jaguars? I'll believe it when I see it. There is still a part of me that, like Parachamp was saying, there's a part of me that would be like actually kind of surprised if he did get hired again. I don't know. Like, he's living life with like his 20-year-old girlfriend now or something like that. That's just so weird to say. Like, I don't know. Like, he could do what he wants, I guess, right? Like, it's for lack of a better way to say it, it's allowed, it's legal. It's maybe a little weird, but he could do it if he wants to. But he's just kind of living life, He seems to like actually enjoy being like on TV and stuff though, right? He seems to actually be kind of good at this whole media thing, right? He's just chilling, talking ball. He seems to enjoy it a little bit. I don't hate Bill Belichick, content creator, Wasn't he supposed to go coach the Cowboys next year? That would be crazy. I would enjoy that. That would be a funny timeline. Imagining Bill Belichick working with Jerry Jones. Would Bill want to be the GM? Jerry's the GM right now. He'd be like, nah, Jerry, sorry, you can't make the calls anymore. That would be crazy. I don't know what the Cowboys are going to do with their head coaching situation. Who knows, man? But Sam saying the Ravens, for all their awesome talent, really have a penalty problem. Has that been a thing this year? I guess I haven't been tapped in with like the penalty numbers. They did have the whole illegal formation snafu back in week 1. And that is weird, right? For a Harbaugh coach team to like have those penalty issues, right? I feel like the Ravens have typically been a pretty disciplined team, usually not making silly mistakes like that. But it's a weird year, man. Weird stuff happens. But yeah, I would be surprised if Bill came back and coached. Ron saying it'd be a disaster. It'd work out even worse than when Parcells coached the Cowboys. Yeah, and that was a little bit before my time, right? I mean, I can't remember if I think I was alive when that happened, but I couldn't have been like more than like 4 years old, right? But he was like barely there, right? Yeah. That would be crazy. I feel like that's one of the least desirable jobs right now, honestly, would be the Cowboys should they fire Mike McCarthy, right? Like, they've got so much money tied up into just a few guys. Jerry just seems to have no idea what's going on anymore at this point. And it's like an incredibly high pressure job, right? The expectations are going to be really high because, you have the quarterback, you've got Micah Parsons, you've got CeeDee Lamb, like you should be winning, right? Even if you win like 7 games, like people are going to be calling for your head, It's like manager at Real Madrid, right? Oh my gosh. Before they had Zidane, like it was just so funny. Like Real would like lose 2 games in like 3 months and it'd be like, oh, it's over. Sack him, as they say in Europe. Hey, no worries about that. Ain't nothing wrong with being 54 years old. If anything, I appreciate the older people in here, right? It's nice to get an insight of what it was actually like when Parcells was coaching the Cowboys, right? I've only read about it. It's nice to get a perspective of someone who is actually there. Hey, that's awesome. Ain't nothing wrong with that. That's awesome. Votto saying he will be given the keys to the franchise in Jacksonville. That one happened with Jerry. Yeah. And I say this as someone that loves Jacksonville. Do you really want the keys? If you're Bill Belichick, do you want the keys to that franchise? I mean, if you just say, hey, Shad, let me cook, maybe. You'd have to get rid of Trent Baalke. How about that? You would have the quarterback, though. And there's some talented players on there's some talented players on the Jags, right? I still like Trayvon Walker. You've got Josh Hines Allen. You know, Evan Ingram, Christian Kirk, Brian Thomas Jr. When they're all healthy, you could do a lot worse, right? You could do a lot worse. Absolutely. Yo, we got Nick in here. Let's go. Good to have you back in here, Nick. Saying, hey, what's poppin', doctor? Oh, man, it's always popping here, right? We got a little Monday Night Football, a little hardball action, but it's good to have you back in here. Let's go. Lovato asking if I'm a soccer fan as well. A little bit. I was really into it a few years ago. I'm a bit more of a casual now, but I had a big soccer phase in high school. Not that I have anything against soccer now, right? I just haven't found myself watching it as much recently. I still lock in for like the big international tournaments, you know, right? Copa, the Euros, World Cup, obviously. I'll lock in for that. But you know, there was a day where Atletico Madrid, I considered one of my favorite teams, honestly. I still rock with them, but I just haven't been watching La Liga as much. But I do enjoy some occasional soccer action. I do, you know. The other football, not to be cringe or anything, but yeah. You know, I'd watch the Prem with my dad sometimes. My dad likes Tottenham, so we'd watch Tottenham together some. But been to a few U.S. men's national team games. Been to a few Minnesota United games. Those are always a good time. Great sport to go to in person. And a fun sport to play. I would say soccer is one of my favorite sports to play. I was a junior varsity legend back in high school. But Caden saying, just heard what 7th grade did. That's messed up real. I can't believe they cheated in the food drive, bro. Unbelievable. Nick's a little drunk and not even watching the game, but I've missed the last few streams, so I'm going to stay. Hey, I appreciate it, man. Thank you for spending your time here with me. Even if you're not watching the game, I like to think it's a good time just hanging out here, so I appreciate it. Thank you. Ravens aren't looking so good. Lamar seeming inaccurate with his throws. Yeah, he's 1 for 4 with 2 yards right now. Jesse Minter, man, he's got him, you know. Man, that is tough. Joel Mark saying one day he'll get me a Santos jersey when he's no longer poor. No way. That would be sick. I would rock that on stream. 110%. That would be crazy. Lovato saying Saturday morning watching the Premier League is perfect. Oh, yeah. And I will say it's nice, like, how much more accessible soccer has gotten in the United States past few years, right? Like, oh, La Liga is on ESPN Plus now, and Bundesliga was, at least for a little bit. I don't know if they still are. And Serie A, right? I think Serie A is on Paramount Plus. And it's so easy to watch the Prem, right? It's just straight up on NBC. If you've got Peacock, you can watch the Prem. It is nice, right? Champions League, you can find pretty easily on TV. It is nice. It's the best time just hanging out here. Let's go. Let's go. Chargers back with the ball. First quarter's almost done. They've been dominating time of possession. They're showing that right now. They have looked like the better team straight up so far through this almost first quarter of action. Herbert's looking good. They're holding on to the ball. The defense is looking good. They have kind of hemmed Lamar in so far. Lamar coming off like not the greatest game last week either. Wasn't necessarily all on him, right? Like, and also the Steelers defense is just really good, right? But, you know, it wasn't his strongest showing last week. You know, but still having a fantastic season. Still a fantastic player. I mean, let's not get too carried away, you know. But if you want to talk MVP race, maybe creeping down just a little bit. Maybe his MVP stock took just a little bit of a hit. Lovato saying, let's not forget Lamar got outplayed by Gardner Minshew at one point this season. That's y'all's MVP. That game, just as he just crazier with every passing week. It's like, how did the Raiders win that game? And the Raiders were down like multiple scores in the fourth quarter too. Like the Raiders came back in that game. They were getting killed at one point. There's J.K. Dobbins' big run into Baltimore territory. I think that'll take us to the second quarter. It's J.K. all day. I was in my best Gus, but J.K. all day. Oh, man. Love me some Gus Johnson. But shoot, Chargers looking good after one quarter of play. That is another new running back. Absolutely, right? Absolutely. They're not going to snap this ball. There's no way. You know what's crazy? I don't think I knew that you were a Steelers fan, Nick. Let's go. Saying as a Steelers fan, I was feeling real nice with that win over the Ravens, but in the dumps with that Browns loss now. Yeah, no, I get that, right? And it's a long season. You've still got a leg up over the rest of the division. And shoot, you got to be feeling good right now with the Ravens down after the first quarter, right? You beat the Ravens once. At the very most, all they can do is split the season series with you now, right? You still got to be feeling pretty good. It was a weird game. It was a Thursday night game. Division rivalry on the road. Cleveland looking like a snow globe, right? And the Steelers still almost pulled that one out, which was kind of crazy. But, you know, losing to your rival sucks. I totally get that too. And the Steelers have a kind of a tough schedule down the stretch. We're going to find out, like if the Steelers win the division, man, they will have 110% earned it because they've got the tough part of their schedule coming up now. They might have it in them, though. I really think they might be able to pull it off. They might be able to steal the division. A home playoff game in Pittsburgh, that would be crazy. Oh, that would be electric. Nick grew up in Pittsburgh. Dad grew up in North Dakota and have some family there. There you go, right? Grand Forks, right? If I can remember back from like August. There you go. The Pittsburgh, North Dakota crossover, just like Wiz Khalifa. True story. Wiz Khalifa was born in North Dakota. He lived there like a few months before moving to Pittsburgh, but he's from Minot, North Dakota. That is 110% true fact. That is where he was born. The Magic City, Minot, North Dakota. Why not Minot? Joao saying he loves watching Darnell Washington. Dude's a monster. He is. Dude, oh my goodness. I sat fairly close to him at a UGA game once. I was down near the UGA bench. This was one of the games I actually didn't have student tickets for. I went with my now brother-in-law, and we were like a few rows away from the UGA bench, and he was just like sitting down on the sideline, and it's like, oh my gosh, how is a human being that big? I mean, he's a monster. The way he could just ragdoll people in the run game, and he's starting to get a little bit more involved as a receiver. He is such a tank, dude. I love his game so much. He's such a stealer. He really is such a stealer. Grand Forks all the way. I had to say it. It finally came in handy, right? I know. I've been parroting that fact to anyone that will listen ever since I learned it back when I was a freshman in high school. Back like almost like 10 years ago now, not to age myself. But yeah, I just loved repeating that fact, and it finally came in handy. I was able to bring it up organically. Oh, man. Got the 412 tatted on his chest. Let's go. Speaking of the Pittsburgh Steelers, welcome to the stream, Michael. Good to have you in here saying Steelers are not finishing 9-8. Nah, there's no way. As fun as it is to get the Tomlin 9-8 jokes off, nah, this team is too good for that. This team is too good for that, man. I think like 12-5, they've got a real shot at, honestly. Peek at their schedule maybe a little bit, but that defense is legit. Russ is still playing well, all things considered. The wide receiver core makes sense for what they want to do. They can run the ball. And it's Tomlin, dude. You know, Tomlin was getting 9 wins out of, like, inferior teams to this one, right? Like, it is kind of crazy looking back. Some of those Steelers teams that made the playoffs, like, they made the playoffs with the corpse of Ben Roethlisberger. It's like, that was crazy. They made the playoffs with Kenny Pickett. You know, like, that's just crazy. But the schedule is tough. I will say I made this prediction last week. I think I'm gonna stand on business with it, at least for right now. I think they go to the AFC Championship game. I don't know if they're gonna win in the AFC Championship game and go to the Super Bowl. I think they're gonna make the AFC Championship game. They'll win their wild card game. They'll pull off like an upset in the divisional round. Like, I don't know, maybe they'll beat the Ravens in the divisional round or something like that. And they will be playing in the AFC Championship game. Nick saying definitely could think the Steelers could possibly steal the division. I don't know if we're even winning a home playoff game. It's going to be tough. I mean, if y'all get like Houston, I think that like the Steelers could beat Houston by like multiple possessions if it was in Pittsburgh too, especially. Well, it wouldn't be, I guess, if they played Houston, because Houston's probably going to get the 4 seed. But who would they play? I mean, if let's say the Steelers got the 3 seed, probably where I'd be KC, Buffalo, Pittsburgh. They'd play the 6 seed in the AFC, which would probably be, I'd have to look at the standings. Let's see. I'd have to look at the standings though. Steelers, Ravens. Golly, I'll be darned if I didn't think the Steelers could pull that off in Pittsburgh. Steelers, Ravens. It would be tough. It'd be tough. It'd either be that or like the Chargers maybe. It'd be tough. They'd have to pull off an upset in the divisional though, probably. But it would be so Steelers for them to beat the Chiefs in the divisional. Hey, they'll get a little practice run at them a few weeks from now, right? It's possible. Those Chiefs tackles are not very good. Could you see TJ Watt getting like 3 sacks and just like the most opportune strip sack of all time that gets scooped up by, I don't know, Nick Herbig for a touchdown or something like that? Couldn't you see that happening? Maybe. Meanwhile, Chargers are marching here. They're near in the red zone. 2nd and 7. Herbert's going to go deep down the sideline. Oh, looking for Quentin Johnston. There he was right there. Oh, that was the look we were looking for in fantasy, right? Nate Wiggins. Pretty good coverage, though. He's had a pretty good rookie year, all things considered. Hasn't been like Sauce Gardner rookie year level or anything, but pretty good coverage right there. Fingers crossed for that. Michael saying the defense needs to stop allowing 30 to 40 points in those playoff games like they have in this losing streak. Yeah, that is true. Hey, I mean, you know, to be fair, like, you don't even want to say that because, like, it's the playoffs. Of course you're going to run into those guys. But, like, they got Josh Allen last year. They got Mahomes a few years ago. But also, that's what you get when you get the 7 seed, right? Like, that is what happens. So, we got Daniel Barry Sports Highlights in here. Welcome to the stream, Daniel Barry. Good to have you in here saying, what's up, everyone? What's up to you? Welcome to the stream. Michael saying they did that last time against the Chiefs in the playoffs, 35 points later. Got Sebastian in here too. Let's go. Welcome to the stream, Sebastian. Good to have you back in here. Look at that. People coming through the portal. Loving the turnout. 42-yard attempt for Cameron Dicker on the way. Can the Chargers make it a 2-score game? Dicker's been good. He got it. Man, you just got to keep knocking on wood with the Chargers, I feel like, right? They've been given cursed vibes for so long with all these close games that they lose and their special teams woes, right? Like, honestly, this Chargers team feels like the antithesis of some of these other Chargers teams we've seen really in my lifetime, quite honestly, right? Like that Bengals game last week, that's a game that the Brandon Staley Chargers lose. That's a game that the Norv Turner Chargers lose, or the Anthony Lynn Chargers lose, right? Or the Mike McCoy Chargers, you remember him, right? Like pretty much every other Chargers team in my lifetime would have lost that game. But man, they found a way to win, right? Their kicker is good now. Like, it's a little scary saying that, right? Oh, their defense is playing well. It's a little scary saying that, right? But man, if they're not a well-coached team with a great quarterback and a good-looking defense, like, just how good are these Chargers, man? That's a good question that we might figure out tonight. Like, just how good are these Chargers? Again, you know, we were talking about it earlier, and there's still probably some truth to it, right? They haven't played the hardest schedule yet. But also, they're 7-3 at this point in the year. They're up 10 on the Ravens right now. I don't know. Could the Chargers make a playoff run? They're another team to keep an eye on. But Lovato asking, what are our guys' opinions on the Chiefs for now? Still the favorites? Probably, right? And it's so tough because part of me wants to say, man, I don't know. Even though they've only lost one game, like they're showing some cracks, right? Like CB2 is looking a little weak right now, right? They really miss Jalen Watson. Oh, their tackles look pretty bad right now. They're kind of getting beat around the edge pretty easily, right? These edge rushers are kicking their tails up front, right? You know, oh, they still maybe don't have the most explosive offense. You worry about like not having a dude at wide receiver, but also like truly, genuinely, I think last year did so much for me as far as like, I just can't like doubt them until I'm proven otherwise, right? They looked worse last year, I would say at this point, than they do this year. Like, even though it's still like, oh, their point differential isn't as good and all that stuff. Like, man, like they were like 10-7 last year or 11-6. I can't remember the exact record, but I mean, watching that game on Christmas Day against the Raiders last year, it's like, dude, they don't look very good. They might lose in like the divisional. Then they just locked in. Kelsey got right, and they won the Super Bowl. Not a guarantee that that happens again this year, right? You can't keep banking on that to happen. You could say the Bills, though. You could say the Bills. That's valid, right? Chargers, or not Chargers. Chiefs versus the field. The smart bet is the field, right? We'll see. I don't know. We'll see. The playoffs will still probably go through Arrowhead, and that is absolutely a factor. That is absolutely a factor. Bills Lions Super Bowl would feed families. The Lake Erie Super Bowl, right? That would be pretty sick. That would be pretty sick. I could see it. I do feel pretty good about the Lions making the Super Bowl. Maybe the Eagles. The Eagles, I feel like, are easily the Lions' biggest threat in the NFC, but I feel like we're starting to see a clear hierarchy shape up, right? The top two teams in the NFC are the Bills, goodness gracious, the Lions and the Eagles, and then the AFC, it's probably the Bills and Chiefs, you know. But I'm loving the active chat right here. Oh, man. I just tried to drink out of a closed water bottle. It happens. Going back to Henry. There's Henry with some space. That's got to be his biggest run of the night right there. Only had 3 carries so far. First down run for Derrick Henry. Got him going outside. Yeah, 19-yard carry for Derrick Henry. The Chiefs defense looked pretty bad against the Panthers. Bryce Young, honestly, maybe had the best game of his career. And Bryce was just like throwing some great balls out there too. But nah, teams are starting to realize, I think, like, man, you can just attack whoever is out there opposite of McDuffie, right? McDuffie is obviously still that dude, but they're getting a little thinner on defense, you know. And Jalen Watson was supposed to be next man up. He's the guy that Spags was developing to replace Snead. And when Watson was out there, he was pretty good. But man, they miss him. Man, they miss him. So that, like, as weird as it sounds, like Jalen Watson being hurt could cost the Chiefs a three-peat, like legitimately, you know. But yeah, they do get Pacheco back. But honestly, their running back situation isn't what worries me the most about them right now. And their tackles are pretty poor. There's a lot of people thinking that DJ Humphries, who's like just coming back from injury, might be a guy they sign off the street. I won't blame them, man. I liked Kingsley Suamataia a lot coming out of the draft, that rookie left tackle. I don't know. He hasn't been that great. Wanya Morris has been struggling a little bit. Tackle has kind of been like a weak position for them for a while, so it's been a problem. But Game Solved asking if I'm more scared of the Lions or the Eagles. Probably the Lions. If you're asking like me as a Vikings fan, right? Well, me as a Vikings fan, I'm not scared of anyone. But no, the Lions are legit. I mean, both the Lions and the Eagles are legit. But the Lions could have a game where it's like, wow, they rushed for 200 yards and Jared Goff threw only 2 incompletions. And Kirby Joseph and Brian Branch had 3 pick sixes. You know? Lamar going deep. Oh, that was a good ball. He had Bateman. Granted, that was a very tough catch for Bateman to make, right? That was a great play by the Chargers defense right there. But there's one spot that ball could have gotten for it to be caught, and Lamar put it there. Let's see this back. Maybe I'm wrong, but... oh, no, he put it right on the 7. Oh, I mean, it was a great play to break it up, right? Like, I'm not saying Bateman sold him or anything, but that was an impossible spot that Lamar put that in there. Here we go. 3rd down and 5. It's loud in SoFi. Lamar evading. Ooh. Oh, Andrews was a little dangerous with the football there. He like kind of caught it weird. He like brought the ball down and had to like pin it against his hip almost. I was scared that ball was going to pop free for a sec. Look at that. Yeah, he like brought it down really awkwardly. I think that's still a catch. But that was pretty sketchy. Oh, that ball moves a tiny bit. Yeah, I don't think they can overturn it. That was a little sketchy, though. He'll get a breather now. Here goes the Ravens in the red zone first time tonight. They'll give it back to Henry. Look at him cutting back upfield. 1st and goal. Henry rumbling now. They're starting to get him going. Now over 50 yards here in the first half. Let's go, Nick, saying, appreciate the active chat. Oh, yeah, the streams are great when it's popping like this. It's awesome. It would be cool to see Goff win a Super Bowl after everything that went down with the Rams and stuff, right? He seems like a good guy, right? That would be pretty cool. Sebastian asking if I think the Ravens could do anything scheme-wise to get their defense into shape for the playoffs. They kind of look like a liability right now. Yeah, I mean, I think some of it is... We'll see about this penalty getting thrown. It's tough, right? Because they're still trying to kind of do the same stuff that they did last year, right? But it's just hard to replicate that, even if like, oh, it's Mike McDonald's assistant, you know, and they promoted in-house, and Zach Orr, like he's the guy that they groomed for this, right? I don't know, man. Like, they just really had a secret sauce last year, and some of it is personnel, right? Like, they straight up missed Jadeveon Clowney, right? Like, even though Geno Stone isn't having a great year necessarily in Cincy this year, like, they sure missed someone playing like Geno Stone did last year on their team, right? You know, and, like, they've been injured a little bit. I guess that's my way of saying, I don't know, man. I don't know what they could necessarily do. Like, I don't have like a, oh, this single tweak they need to make. Also, that was a sick run by Lamar. Touchdown Ravens. That was a sick run by Lamar. Woo-hoo. Here we go. We got a game. And also like some of their good players have like not been as good this year, right? Like Roquan just hasn't quite been himself this year. He's just been a little bit lost in coverage sometimes, right? He got thrown around in that Chiefs game a little bit. So it's just been a weird year for their defense. Their corners are getting beat at the catch point a lot. Like, I feel like Brandon Stevens, like, he'll have so many plays where like he has great coverage and then he just gets mossed, you know? And it's like, yeah, maybe he could like make a better play on the ball, but also like that's just kind of tough, you know? Like, he's in pretty good position, but he just gets dunked on, you know? So, but their defense might really cost them in the playoffs. I struggle to get on board with like the Ravens winning the Super Bowl this year because I don't know how their defense can hold up for 4 games in the playoffs. I just don't, you know. Especially like if Pittsburgh steals the division, they have to go on the road for every game too. I am a little skeptical about that. But Michael asking, don't know if this was brought up before, but what do you think of the college football this past weekend? Chaos reigns supreme, right? I mean, Bama goes down, Ole Miss goes down. Now Georgia somehow, some way finds themselves back in the SEC championship game, right? Indiana loses. That made me a little bit sad. I can't lie. I was hoping Indiana would win. I hope they still make it in the playoffs. I understand if they don't, I guess, right? Whatever. They didn't play a great schedule. Then the first real team they play, they get beat. I don't know. I like the goofiness and wackiness of college football. And you know what? Maybe Indiana would get beat down in the playoffs. But what if they didn't? You know? I don't know. But a lot of chaos. Chaos is always good. I don't envy the selection committee, and I feel like I say that every year, even with the expanded field. I do not envy the committee this year because people are going to be upset no matter which way the ball bounces, right? Quinn Ewers is out now, right? So it might be a little bit more Arch Manning. The Gophers lost. Yeah. Schema. I said I did not watch the game. I can't lie. But no, I will say I've never been like never. I have not been as big into college football for a while now. Honestly, I don't know. Like I just feel like as I've gotten older, like I've got less time to like watch every sport, right? As much as I'd like to, you know. But I'm definitely not like a college football expert, but like if there's a good game on, I'll tune in, right? I was saying maybe I'll have to tune into A&M versus Texas next week. That's going to be a good one. Rivalry week is sick, you know, but I'm not like the leading authority on college football. That's what I'll say. But I like giving a college football take here and there. Nick saying he also has a question about college football. What do I think of the new expanded college football playoffs? I don't know if I've already talked about it or not, but just curious what I think about it. I don't know that I really have talked about it on this channel. I am pretty in favor of it, right? I know some people think 12 teams is too many and stuff like that, you know, and it's very hard to have like a good, honest, fair, perfect playoff system for college football, right? Because there's just infinitely more teams than like the NFL with 32 teams in total, right? And, you know, there's just a higher concentration of talent on a small, select handful of teams. Now, I like it because it gives more teams a chance, and I think some might say that it cheapens the regular season and that there's less meaning to it, but I think you could argue the opposite as well, right? Because now all of a sudden, you know, number 17 versus number 12 means a whole lot more. Sure, maybe number 2 versus number 3 doesn't mean as much, right? Because it's not like an elimination game, but I mean, very clearly these games still matter, right? We're still talking about the regular season just as much, right? And I think, I don't know. Like, I think more football is good. And while it may not be perfect, I think it's better than the 4-team system, right? You know, and some people, especially like fans of Blue Bloods, were like, oh, it's fine. It's like, well, yeah, of course you think it's fine, Ohio State fan. Like, it's working for you. You get a seat at the table every year, right? But no, I think it's good. I enjoy it. And yeah, that first round, right, home playoff games, that's going to be sick. That is going to be so sick. So I'm here for it. I do have a college football take, though. And this is one that I believe more and more with every passing year. My favorite form of college football, truly, unironically, my favorite iteration of college football is the FCS. I love the FCS so much, and it certainly helps that I grew up cheering for NDSU, right? I grew up in FCS country. I love the way their playoff is structured, right? I still think there's a lot of talent in the FCS. It's not like bad players or teams out there by any means. You'll get some NFLers, right? To me, it's like if college basketball was football in the way that, like, I don't know, NIL doesn't seem to be as big of a factor. It's kind of funny for me to say there's more parity when NDSU has won like X amount of national championships. I don't know. Maybe I'm just a little biased, but I love the FCS, man. I love the FCS so much. They had their playoff selection on Sunday. NDSU, 2 seed. Horns up, baby. Let's go. Some people are mad about that. There's some people like, they shouldn't have gotten the 2 seed. They did lose their final regular season game, but I think 2 is fair. They've been good this year. They nearly beat Colorado. They beat South Dakota State. Hadn't happened in a while. But anyways. Spark Notes version. I mean, there's just more teams, right? It's a bigger field, and I think that makes sense because there is like in the FCS, like, the 24th ranked team probably has a much better fighting chance against like the number 2 team than like in the FBS. I feel like even though there's still like some teams that are pretty comfortably at the top, right? Like you do see some upsets in the FCS playoffs. Absolutely. Right. And that one, it's on the team's campuses up until the national championship game, right? You got the semifinal game. Oh, yeah, that's played on campus, baby. Been a lot of great playoff games in the Fargo Dome throughout the years, right? So I think that's so cool, too. It feels a little bit more like the NFL playoffs, I guess, and that, like, you could tune into the second round and, like, yeah, maybe the 1 seed wins by 30. Sometimes they go down. Anyways, 3rd and 1 for the Chargers. They're not going to get it. The Ravens get a stop. Oh, we got some laundry. Hold on. Harbaugh. Jim Harbaugh. I need to specify that. Saying face mask. Let's see about this. You know what's crazy? I actually don't know off the top of my head how many teams there are for the FCS playoffs. Hey, nothing wrong with not knowing about college football, right? We've all got stuff that we're not experts in. Nothing. Clearly, I'm not an expert. I don't know how many teams it is either. I want to say 26 for some reason. It's around 26. But Sebastian saying he thinks the college football playoff should be abolished and the final ranking should be chosen by a random person selected through a lottery every year. Oh, could you imagine? That would be crazy. Oh, man. College football talk. How about it? 3rd and 11 for the Chargers now after the penalty. It was holding, not a face mask. Jim wanted the face mask. Oh, he got it to Ladd. You wonder, because they threw it so easily short of the sticks, if they're doing that to set up a 4th down. Nah, Herbert's going off the field. You always wonder, though, now, right? When they just, like, quickly throw it short of the sticks, like, are they setting up a more manageable 4th down situation? I think he was maybe just hoping Ladd would get a little bit more after the catch. Pretty well covered up by the Ravens, though. You're in your own territory. I get it. Maybe a bit much to go for it. They'll punt it. Random Twitter user without a profile photo. Good punt right there. That J.K. Scott. Great score. Brazilian question right here. Do Americans often play casual football games with friends on the weekends, followed by socializing over a beer? Now, when you say football, I'm assuming you mean American football, right? That does not really seem to be a thing. I know that's like big in like soccer culture, right? Like the weekend leagues, right? Your Sunday league, right? You go play with your boys and then you grab a pint at your pub afterwards, right? I think that's sick. I think that's awesome. That's not as much of a thing here. I feel like the most common recreational sports in the United States, like to play with your friends, are basketball and softball, right? Like you'll like, I think the American version of that is like going to play basketball at your gym with your friends, right? You get a group of like 5 friends, you go play basketball for an hour or two, just like going across different courts, playing different people. You usually don't get beer. I mean, you totally could if you wanted to. You know, I have no opposition to that, but I feel like that's not as big in like American culture, like grabbing I say that. I don't know. That's not true. Getting a beer with your boys after softball. It's just different sports, I think, but let's see, shoot. Ron said something about the Chiefs. Here we go. Ron saying, I don't care how bad the Chiefs are compared to previous years. The fact is they've won 2 straight, and that makes them the front runner in my mind. I mean, I have to agree, right? It's, you know, it can be easy to be like, well, this isn't the past. This is the present and the future, right? You know, and they're still a good team. That's the other thing, too. Even though they're not winning by like 20 points every game, their defense, all things considered, even if there are some depth questions, is still good. Mahomes is obviously still good. Kelsey's still good. Kelsey is quietly having like a great season this year, right? Not even just as a receiver, but as a blocker, you know. And they're figuring things out with their receiving core. DeAndre Hopkins still seems like a net positive. Worthy, you know, he's not quite there yet, but he seems to be turning the corner a little bit. He has a few nice plays every week. They do miss Rashee Rice a little bit, and who knows when we'll see him again. The interior offensive line is really good. The tackles maybe aren't, but their interior, their center, and their guards are fantastic, right? And, you know, they're well coached, they're experienced. They've done this a million times before, so I think that is fair to say. Pickleball is on the come up, Michael. Absolutely. Pickleball is a very popular recreational sport. Yeah, those pickleball courts are popping up everywhere. That's a great call. That is a great call right there. I feel like it is hard to just like casually play football. You're right, Sebastian. You can easily get hurt. I will say, though, flag football might be the move. And I am so for real that like I would love to join a rec flag football league at some point. I think that'd be so much fun. Ron used to play pickup park football with his friends, usually flag or two-hand below tag. Yeah, I like that. I played a lot of like two-hand touch in like the yard or like over at the park back in the day, you know. Oh, those are fun. Those are fun days. Usually wouldn't be big games. It'd be like 3-on-3, 4-on-4, but yeah, those are fun. Spike ball, that's another good one. Yeah, spike ball. I have a spike ball set somewhere. Been a while since I've played, but that's fun. Going back to Henry again. Man, Derrick Henry. It's so crazy, right? Like, I feel like this is the perfect embodiment of Derrick Henry, right? Like, he started off this game slow. It's like, wow, they've barely gotten him involved. And now all of a sudden, like, it's almost halftime. You're like, whoa, he's got 66 yards, you know? Feel like a lot of seasons, maybe not so much this season. He got off to a pretty fast start this season, but there's like so many seasons when he was on the Titans where it's like, Derrick Henry's off to a slow start. And it's like, oh, is this finally the year? And then by week 9, he's got like 1,100 yards. It's like, where did that happen? As soon as I say that, the Chargers stop him on 3rd and short. Oh, are they going to go for it? They're coming out to the line quick. No, they ain't snapping this. They are not snapping this ball. They don't have to. They can take it to the 2-minute warning if they want to. They're going to get into shotgun now. I don't buy this for a second. This is all eye candy. Eyewash. Nah. They ain't getting this. See? Oh, I was just talking about this. Was it last week? Right? Every time a team tries to do this when they're on the road, right? Every time they try and like line it up and like, oh, they try and get them to jump to get the first down, right? And the defense doesn't jump. Like as soon as the play clock runs out or like it goes to 2-minute warning, right? The defense just goes bananas and starts firing up the crowd and everyone's going crazy. And I say this, like I feel like the getting people to jump on 4th down has worked like a little bit more this year compared to other years. Like I feel like you can go and pull up a few examples of it working. But I think that the success rate of it is just so low, right? It almost never happens. And for me, I just think, I'm sorry. Like I know why teams do it and it's worth a shot, but I also think it's such like a weak move sometimes. Like, yeah, we're going to line it up and pretend to go for it, but we don't have the stones to actually do it. But we're going to see if we can trick you. And then when it inevitably doesn't work, the defense is like, yeah, you got to stand on business. Like, actually try it against us, you know? And the crowd is feeling it. It's like, I don't know. I think they just fired up the Chargers crowd for no reason by doing that, honestly. You know, like I know there's this whole momentum debate and that's a whole different conversation. But here's what I'll say. Momentum, at least to an extent, isn't real, even if it's not quantifiable. You can't tell me that's not a momentum swing right there. The Chargers are like, they're too scared to try for 1 yard. They don't want to earn their yard. They don't want to come out and compete. They're going to try and trick us, though. Get out of here with that. Let's go Chargers. Bolt up, right? I bet you that's what Jim is saying right now. They don't want to compete. Oh, man. Nick is saying, you remember whenever Henry changed his career around in like his 3rd season, the Jags game, right? The Thursday night game, right? 99-yard touchdown run. My bad. Pretty drunk. Typing is bad. Hey, nothing wrong with that. Having a great time. Hey, the true Midwestern experience right there. I love it. I love it. That's awesome. Oh, man. No, it does seem to work. It does not seem to work very much, though. Maybe I'm just saying that because I can think of like 2 examples it's worked this year. And maybe 2 is a lot compared to normal, but Ron asking if the analytics say it's worth it to go for it. On a 4th and 1, you would be surprised how often it's recommended to go for it, right? And I bet you in a little bit here, we could pull up what like, oh, wait, they do go for it. And I think they got it. The Mark Andrews tight end sneak. Oh, they did actually go for it. Oh, my goodness. Let's go. Little brotherly shenanigans. How about that? The Ravens did come to compete. That's awesome. Let's go. Let's go. No way. Well, let's see if they can get some extra points out of this. That's crazy. This is kind of what my video is about. Not to plug my next project, which will come. Actually got a lot of work done on it here today. Ooh, J.K. Dobbins going into the locker room now. I feel like the tight end sneak is starting to take off too. Like teams trying to pick up like 1 yard on 4th down. They just have the tight end sneak it. I get it. You want to protect your quarterback, get a bigger guy out there. That was a good play on 2nd and 12 right there. Getting a lot of yards back. It is, no, like, it can be easy to see 4th down as like a 50-50 coin flip, but a lot of times, especially those 1 yard situations, no, you are like heavily favored to actually get it, you know? Zay Flowers after the catch, turning upfield. Here comes Lamar. And he gets out of bounds. Oh, baby, the Ravens might steal some points here. The Ravens might steal some points here. But yeah, to answer your question, Ron, in a roundabout way, a lot of times, yeah, you'd be surprised how often it is recommended to go for it. Especially on a spot like that, it probably was slightly favoring towards going for it, since it is just 4th and 1, right? Your odds of getting just 1 yard are fairly high. You remember the times where it doesn't work more, right? But there are plenty of times where it does work, right? Let's say the Ravens get a field goal here. That's 3 points they would not have scored otherwise, right? That might not stand out as much as if, oh, they didn't get it, right? And then the Chargers took over and scored off of that, right? But if the Ravens get even 3 points here, that is a big swing in this game. And now they got a penalty against the Chargers. They might try and go for a touchdown here, right? They've still got 3 timeouts, right? Oh, yeah, the Eagles on 4th and short. I mean, say what you want about Nick Sirianni, but he cooked with the tush push. Even if he didn't necessarily invent it, the fact that he's been able to embrace it and it's become such a weapon for the Eagles and they essentially get an extra down, right? I mean, that has just like straight up won them some games, you know? But Sebastian saying, from all the John Boys vids I've watched, I think I remember learning you've got about a 68% chance to pick up 1 yard on any given play, if not more. I believe it. That's more than 2/3, right? Like, get out there and compete, you know? Lamar's going to go deep. Looking for Bateman. Oh, my goodness. He caught it. Touchdown. Rashad Bateman. Rashad Bateman. Oh, my goodness. What a throw and catch. And there you go. 7 points the Ravens would not have scored otherwise, right? They don't have the stones to go for it on 4th and 1. They punt that ball away. They're going into halftime losing. That just got them 7 points they would not have scored otherwise. What a throw and catch to Bateman. How about the year Rashad Bateman's having? Good to see him kind of break out a little bit. Talent has always been there. May or may not have him on one of my dynasty teams. Look at Rashad Bateman, man. How about that response from the Ravens, man? Wasn't too long ago we were saying, man, Chargers look like a much, much better team. Yet here we are, 24 seconds to halftime. Ravens up 14-10. Just like that. Little bit of Henry, little bit of Lamar, little bit of guts. You got a Ravens lead. You got a Ravens lead. Sebastian saying, could make a big difference if they do cook up a final drive. Yep, there you go. No, I do like the brotherly shove too. And honestly, like, I slip into the tush push habit sometimes because it's just like easier to say. But I like brotherly shove, right? Specifically for Philly. And this has been my take for a little bit. And I need to be better about upholding my own take, right? When the Eagles do it, it's the brotherly shove. When every other team does it, it's the tush push, right? Because the Eagles do it better than everyone else. It works for other teams, right? But the Eagles have that insane success rate, right? Philly is the city of brotherly love. And the way it's called like the brotherly shove, right? I think that's perfect, right? Because it's like your friends, your teammates, your brothers, they're the ones shoving you forward, right? It's a very team-oriented play, right? Jalen Hurts obviously has a lot to do as the quarterback, and the fact that he's as strong as he is a big deal, right? But you need the push from the linemen up front to create that sort of like space to fall forward. And then you've got guys pushing you from behind. It's like, in a way, it's very beautiful in that it's like the most team-oriented play in the sport. And it's all to just like scrap for 2 yards, you know? It's awesome, though. It is a great play. Could they try a Hail Mary here? I mean, hey, Herbert's got the arm for it, right? That would be crazy. No, they should at least try a shot downfield here on this first play, right? They've got 3 timeouts. Ravens get the ball to start the second half. They should at least try one play. I do not want to see a run here on first down. Ravens are going to call timeout here. I'm with you, Ron. But yeah, that was a heck of a play. That was a heck of a play. Nick asking if the Eagles have their success on that play has gone down since Kelsey retired. I'm not sure, to be honest. I will say I feel like it still works pretty well. If there is a decline, I don't think it's been noticeable. Wasn't it like week 1 they like didn't get it one time, but I do know like Kelsey definitely is a secret sauce, but they've got other great linemen, especially in the middle too. And even their new center, Cam Jurgens, like he's still been pretty good. He's obviously not Kelsey, but it's still working, you know, it's still working. But no, Brett Coleman's video on the brotherly shove was awesome. No, that is honestly, I think, one of his best videos. And I think it's his most viewed video too. He did a great job with that video. The way he explained it kind of dispelled a few misconceptions about the play. They are going to try and throw it. Herbert's just going to run. He'll get out of bounds. That's not a bad play on first down though, right? Get a few yards. Michael saying, did someone say Mike McDonald keeping the Doty spirit alive? Let's go. Let's go. Game Solve saying this is a bit random, but who do I think is winning the NFC West now that all the teams have 5 or 6 wins? I'm going to say Seattle. Screw it. I'm going to say Seattle. I'll say Seattle. Herbert on a 2nd and 2. Herbert's going deep. Oh, he overshot him. Oh, he kind of had him. He kind of had Josh Palmer there. Oh, could you imagine if he would have hit that? That would have been crazy. Arizona would be a great story, though, right? The turnaround, Jonathan Gannon's wackiness and weirdness, how great Kyler's been playing, maybe save for yesterday a little bit, the way they run the rock with James Conner. I think personally, no disrespect to the other 2 NFC West teams, I personally think it'd be cool to see Seattle, Arizona win the division. That would be pretty cool. 3rd and 2, you can try something here. Certainly try and get the first down. Still got those timeouts. Ooh. Ooh. That was nice. There's Jalen Reagor. Yeah. Now, Palmer did have a little bit of a step on him. Arizona has kind of been a head case, though, right? They have been a little up and down. Let's just say I hope that we don't see the good Cardinals on Sunday next week. For no particular reason whatsoever. Don't look up their schedule. Don't worry about it. But yeah, let's hope we get the bad Cardinals. You know what? No, give us the good Cardinals. We're going to earn it. How about that? How about that? Another timeout. No, Kelsey, best NFL center in modern NFL history for sure, right? Like you look at like past 20 years, it's got to be him. Where would he stack up amongst like the greatest centers of all time, honestly, right? Like up there with like Mike Webster and the likes. Probably like top 5. I'd have to sit down and think about it, but Sebastian saying if I want to do more Sporkle at halftime, he's got an interesting one he's found. Well, go ahead and drop the link, and I gotta say, Game Solved, I think you said what it was like the 2009, 2010 NFL quizzes. If you don't mind, it'd be nice if you drop the link for those too, or if I suppose I could just look you up, right? I feel like I like added you on Sporkle or something. We'll get that one pulled up for sure. We got to play the Game Solved game. Jalen Reagor. Better than Justin Jefferson. That's why he got drafted higher than him. Oh. Oh. They're going to get a field goal attempt here. They got it. They got it. Over the middle. I think he does. If not most, up there for sure, right? So I feel like some of his best years were like late in his career too, which was interesting. Like his game aged incredibly well. I think a very makeable kick right here. Can they cut this to a 1-point game at halftime? Lovato asking thoughts on the last Vikings game. thought that we would choke hard, but the Bears are finding more painful ways to lose every week. Also, Darnold performed well in OT. Darnold was awesome in that game. I honestly thought that was one of Sam's best games all season. Yeah, I maybe got a little bit too comfortable there, like early in the fourth quarter. I'm like, shoot, we're up multiple scores. We're big chilling. Like, let's go, right? We've got this, right? We ended up kicking instead of going for the fourth down to like ice the game, but like whatever, they're not going to get an onside kick, right? I had like a heart attack when they recovered that onside kick. No, I thought they played pretty well, all things considered, right? Defense wasn't like lockdown, but Caleb was also just like crazy yesterday. He had some insane throws. He was moving all over the place. That sack he took in overtime was pretty bad. That was kind of a favor from him, but my take is we survived the Soldier Field trap game. We did. It's hard to believe we've won 5 in a row at Soldier Field because that is like the ultimate Vikings trap game, it feels like. Kick is good. 1-point game at halftime. Chargers steal 3 right before halftime. Shoot, that's right. We got to check the draft order, too. I made so many promises for halftime. We will do that, though. You know what? Let's do that first, and then we'll get rocking and rolling with Sporkle. Take a little look behind the scenes right here, right? You want to see how I get the scoreboard? It's literally just this cropped. I mean, you guys probably know that. You've probably seen the scoreboard before. Let's take a look. NFL draft order. Tankathon. I've seen this website so much. I've never actually really been on here. All right. We'll run through the top 10 picks. How about that? We'll do some team needs. Jacksonville, right? Corner, big need. Offensive tackle, big need. And it's a great class for both. You've got Will Johnson. You've got Travis Hunter. You've got the LSU guys, Will Campbell, Emory Jones. That one guy from Texas that I forgot his name, right? But it's a good class. It's not a good class for quarterbacks necessarily. Also, whoopsies. Sorry about that. I switched the screen and then I switched it back and I forgot to switch it back. There we go. Now we can see it a little bit better. But Jacksonville, I mean, they've got a lot of needs, but I feel like corner and tackle are definitely 2 of their biggest needs. The Giants, could they go quarterback? I don't love this quarterback class. 2 might be a bit rich for some of these guys like Shedeur Sanders or Cam Ward. Those are probably the 2 top guys in this class, right? Second overall, I think might be a little rich for those guys. If they want a quarterback, maybe they can trade down and, you look at like some of the teams around here that might want to make a move for like a Will Johnson or something like that, or a Travis Hunter, but Jacksonville needs Travis Hunter. Ron's surprised that the Giants aren't 1. They are horrible. They could be by the end of the year for all we know, honestly. Sam saying that guard is a bigger need for Jacksonville than tackle. I suppose that makes sense, right? I'm trying to think of Jacksonville's tackles right now. I know they traded Cam Robinson. They just drafted a tackle, Anton Harrison, like a few years ago. Yeah, I believe that. Okay. I couldn't tell you the top guard in this class yet, to be honest. But Vegas, another team in the market for a quarterback. They seem like they would take Shedeur, wouldn't they, right? They seem like the team that would take Shedeur Sanders. Would they take him at 3? Again, maybe a bit rich for my liking, but this is the NFL. Quarterbacks are king. Whatever. We could try and cook up like some trade scenarios for the Giants and the Raiders, but honestly, we'll just pretend like they pick quarterbacks at 2 and 3. Very realistic. I think it's very possible, New England. I feel like we're going to be saying this about a lot of teams, but New England, as you're saying, Parachamp, there's a lot of teams that need offensive line. New England needs offensive line. New England needs receiver. They could use another pass rusher too, maybe. And there's a few good pass rushers, right, in this class. But I don't know. I could see them taking like Will Campbell or something. Yeah. I know. I still need to lock in for like some of these prospects, but protect Drake May, right? That should be your goal for the Patriots in this draft. Ron saying, so the big wish list for a lot of Cowboys fans is Shedeur to be drafted by the Cowboys so Dion will come be the coach. That would be peak entertainment. Do not get me wrong. That would be peak entertainment. Oh, I don't want to be the fun police, but they did just pay Dak. I don't know. Would they trade Dak? That's a lot of dead money that they could take on. Oh, can I just simulate the draft? Is that a thing? Oh, there we go. Look at that. Shout out Joao Marks saying, why not just pull up a simulation, see how it looks, right? Wow, so they do just have Shador and Cam Ward going at 2 and 3. I mean, I get it, right? They need quarterbacks. Will Campbell going at 4 to the Patriots. Yeah, I could. Mason Graham maybe surprises me a little bit for the Panthers at 5. They certainly need defense. Like, they need defense everywhere. But at least, like, with their interior, they have Derek Brown. He's injured right now, but, like, he's one of the Panthers' best players. He's a great defensive tackle. I'm a little surprised that they would go Mason Graham here, you know. And they've got J.C. Horn at corner, so maybe not corner, but like they could use an edge, right? They could be a team that could take like an Abdul Carter potentially, right? Looking at some of the other edges. James Pierce out of Tennessee is a name you hear a lot. Michael Williams out of Georgia, you know, might be high at like 5 for some of these guys. I could see Mason Graham being good enough to go at 5, but I don't know about the Panthers. I would rather see them go somewhere other than interior defensive line. But I do think defense, yeah. Tet McMillan to the Titans at 6. Yeah, and they put a lot into wide receiver, but they're kind of old, you know. It's Calvin Ridley and Tyler Boyd. Tet McMillan at 6. I guess, yeah, Travis Hunter went at 1. So he's the second wide receiver off the board. I know Luther Burden is another name, right? Luther Burden to the Bucks at 15. I guess getting ready for the for life after Mike Evans. But Luther Burden, I feel like he was a little bit more hyped coming into the year. But Will Johnson to the Jets. Corner, I don't know about that. Really? I get Sauce has had a down year, and I think DJ Reed might be a free agent. But corner? I don't know about that. They did just address O-line in the last draft, right? Olu Fashanu was their first round pick, so they might not go like tackle or anything. Corner? I don't know about that. But Will Johnson's a great player. You could argue Will Johnson CB1 over Travis Hunter. I don't know. It's a good debate, but Browns go tackle. Yeah, I could see that. They're a team that's also in the market for quarterback, but with Shador and Cam Ward gone, I don't know, like Carson Beck or something would be quite the swing at 8 overall. That's what I'll say. Saints go edge. I believe it. Cam Jordan kind of washed a little bit. Ashton Genty at 10 to the Bengals. Michael not loving it. Division rival. Wouldn't that be crazy though? Oh, could you imagine Burrow, Chase, and Genty? That would be crazy. I'm not going to say T. Higgins because he's probably gone, but that would be disgusting. Malachi Starks to the Cowboys. Good player. Good ball player. Oh, one more I'll shout out because I have to talk about the Colts. Yeah, Colston Loveland to the Colts. That would be sick, right? The way that Shane Steichen has used tight ends in the past, you know, how much they're asked to do in the run game and vertically in the passing game, right? They were a team I really wanted to get Brock Bowers last year, and they're pretty weak at the tight end position. I mean, we literally saw Kyler. We saw Granson drop a pass, and I think one of their other tight ends, I don't think it was Granson, but one of their tight ends just like straight up dropped a touchdown yesterday. It's like, yeah, they need a tight end, man. They need a tight end. But let's see who they have the Vikings taking. Derek Harmon. Yeah, we do need a defensive lineman. I won't hate that. Get a little more beef up the middle. Oregon's been good, so that'll be a good pick. We'll go with that. But we'll get more and more. We're easing our way into draft season, right? We'll get there more and more and more. But I like that. That was fun to just look at. That was fun. I know we're having some Travis Hunter talk here in chat a little bit, right? Lovato saying, sorry for the casual question. Hey, no such thing as a casual question, right? Absolutely no judgment here. Asking if the number one player, does he play cornerback and wide receiver? He does, and he's very good at both. I think I like Travis Hunter at corner just a little bit more. I think he's got a little bit higher ceiling there. He's got such a rare build, right? He's strong, so he can hold up and press and man. He's got such insane ball skills. He's such a great athlete. Like, he could absolutely play zone as well. I just think, like, he could be like Patrick Peterson at corner. And I think he could be a good receiver too. But if he had to pick one, I would say corner. But he's going to try and do both. And honestly, go for it. Like, if he wants to, why not, right? Why not? Game Solved was asking, do I think Ward or Sanders will be better? I think I like Cam Ward a little bit more. I don't know. Sanders has improved a lot, I will say. He has improved a lot this year. He's honestly pretty good from the pocket. You might think that like, oh, he's like a dynamic mobile playmaking quarterback, but honestly, he's kind of at his best working in the pocket. He's not a great athlete, honestly, and maybe that hurts him at the next level a little bit. I don't know. And Cam Ward will try some crazy stuff. I know he's got like some Jordan Love comparisons before, but I might go Cam Ward over Shedeur Sanders for right now. I'll lock in and watch them a little bit more, but initial impressions, I would say Ward over Sanders. Ron saying it's rare to see a guy play both sides of the ball after the high school level, but it occasionally does happen. Hey, remember Anthony Barr? He did that a few years ago back at UCLA back in the day. Chris Berman has looked old my entire life. Now he looks ancient. No, I get that though. It would be probably more rare that he played only corner. Let's go. We got the link for the quiz whenever I'm ready. Dude, I'm ready. Let's jump into some Sporkle. I'll race you. I'll see if I can find it. If I look up games solved. Gakes. Cakes with a G. Games solved. See if that does it. Is that the wrong game solved? Hold on. Wait. No, I think that because I didn't sign in, right? Yo, let's go. I found it. Miles Jack wasn't down. Yeah, that's right. He did too. Thinks it's in French. Interesting. All right, here we go. Oh, is it? It looks like the French flag. Maybe that's why. But that Turpin spin move was sick, though. Yeah. I want to see Travis Hunter play both sides. That's what I'll say. It would be more fun. But if I had to pick one, I'd say corner. Here we go. Shout out to Games Solved. Absolute legend that he is. Been making quizzes. We played a quiz of his last week. And I said, hey, I would love a nice little true or false for the 2009 NFL season. We've got Andre Johnson in the thumbnail, the league leader in receiving yards. So here we go. I ask and I receive. Shout out to the greatest chat, the greatest subs in the world. We're about to play a fan-made quiz. True or false, 2009 NFL season. We got 10 minutes. Let's go. Holy crap. Off the bat, the East and North divisions in both conferences each had 2 teams make the playoffs. In both conferences, I want to say that's going to be true. In the NFC, it is true, right? Because the NFC North, we had the Vikings and Packers, and the NFC East, we had the Cowboys and Eagles. AFC North division winner that year was the Ravens. The Steelers did not make the playoffs, though. The Bengals did. Okay, so we've got the AFC North, and then the AFC East. We have the Patriots. I think the AFC East, there was only one, right? It was only the Patriots, right? Because the Bills didn't, the Dolphins didn't. Oh, the Jets did. They made the AFC Championship year. That is true. All right. Packers, Aaron Rodgers had the best touchdown to interception ratio of 30-7. I do not think that is true. Did he get the 30? I don't know that he got the 30. But I'm a little scared. I know he did have a good year that year. Why do I want to say he was like around 27, 28, though? I'm going to say false. Oh, let's go. It was Favre. That's insane. Yeah, he had maybe the best year of his career. Saints Drew Brees won Super Bowl MVP. That is true. The Jacksonville Jaguars won less games than the Titans. I believe that is true, right? Because the Titans started 0-5, but then Vince Young came in, Vinsanity. They went on a crazy winning streak. They didn't end up making the playoffs, but they had like all these crazy last-second wins. They had one against the Cardinals. I'm going to say that's true. It is. Oh, my goodness. Let's move on. 49ers and the Jaguars changed their main uniforms. That is going to be false, right? Is it true? It did. Oh, snap. All right. I stand corrected. Shout out the F not working. Coming in clutch. The 9-7 Baltimore Ravens scored more points and allowed less points than the 10-6 Cincinnati Bengals. Did the Ravens really go 9-7? I suppose because they played the Patriots in the wild card round, right? They scored more points and allowed less points than the 10-6 Bengals. That sounds true. Yeah. Colts Peyton Manning threw for the most passing yards, causing him to win MVP. That is false. I believe he did win MVP, but Matt Schaub led the league in passing yards. Tennessee Titans went 8-2 before losing 6 games to end at 500. I think it was the opposite, right? Yeah, they started 0-6, and then Vince Young. Look at the callback. It all comes together. It all comes together. Nick saying, what does he miss? We're doing a little true or false 2009 NFL season quiz made by none other than Game Solved, the legend himself. Raiders kicker Sebastian Janikowski was the only kicker to make a 60-plus yard field goal. I know he hit a 63-yarder in his career, but I think that came a little bit later. Oh, who hit some long kicks that year? Did Matt Prater hit a long one? I'm going to say false. Oh, nuts, he did. Dang, all right, no perfect score. On the NFC side of the playoffs, the higher seed won every matchup. Let's see. The Cowboys won. Let's see. The higher seed. Well, I guess the Saints won as the 2 seed, and it was 1 versus 2 seed. Yeah, that's going to be true. Yeah. All right. We're about halfway there. We got the second half starting. We're going to lock in. Jets defense had the least points and yards allowed. I believe it. They were nasty that year. Revis Island. Super Bowl 45 was played. Nope, it was Super Bowl 44. The New England Patriots played the Tampa Bay Buccaneers in Mexico City. I don't think they played a game in Mexico City that year. Colts won 14 straight before losing their final 2. That is true. They gave up on the pursuit of the perfect season. Favre was on the Minnesota Vikings. That's the reason I got into football, more or less, how good we were that year. Packers versus Cardinals wildcard matchup had the second most total points scored in a playoff game in NFL history. I want to say that's false because I think it was the most, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was the most. How did I know that? First game of the 2009-2010 NFL season with the Steelers against the Titans. Why do I want to say that's true? That sounds right. That's crazy. Michael Vick won Comeback Player of the Year the following year. Yeah, it was Brady. Makes sense because he tore his ACL in 2008. Patriots won the AFC East and won 11 or more games for the 10th straight year. I want to say they went 10-6 this year. Yeah, they did. How did I know that? Indianapolis Colts were the 1 seed in the AFC, winning 15 games. Now they won 14. Vikings were the 1 seed. Oh, I wish. They went 12-4. They were the 2 seed. Those darn Saints. The Chargers won the AFC West with a 13-3 record. That is true, right? Isn't that true? Maybe it's false. Oh, I would have got it wrong. Doomerville did lead the league in sacks. That's crazy. Lamar Jackson wasn't in the league yet. Revis got robbed. It was Charles Woodson. No disrespect to the Packers. Woodson was good, but crap. We got to zoom through this second half here. Detroit Lions went 2-14. No, the Rams had the first overall pick. Sam Bradford. AFC side of the playoffs, the lower seed won every matchup. That's not true because the Colts made the Super Bowl. Harbaugh won Coach of the Year. I don't think that's true. I can't remember who won Coach of the Year. It was Marvin Lewis. That's crazy. Marvin Lewis. 5-11, Cleveland Browns went 5-1 in their division. I'm tempted to say that's true. Didn't they sweep the Steelers that year? Nope, it's false. Oh, I'm saved. Patriots and Seahawks played a preseason game in Beijing known as the China Bowl. I feel like I'd know about that. That would have been sick, though. Chinese operations after the 2008 economic crisis. Oh, what could have been? That's a rabbit hole we got to fall down later. There's got to be some goated tub frog video about that or something. 3 quarterbacks selected in the first round of 2009 NFL draft before the season. Stafford, Sanchez, Freeman, bang. Ravens running back Ray Rice had more total yards after the catch than season receiving yards. True, and that's the only notable thing about Ray Rice ever. The New Orleans Saints won the Super Bowl. Don't tell me about it. The Panthers won less games than the Bucks. I want to say that's false. Weren't the Bucks bad that year? Yeah. Brandon Marshall did break the single season receiving record, at least receptions. Yeah, you know what I mean. Aaron Rodgers became the first quarterback to throw for 4,000 yards in his first 2 seasons starting. I believe it. Vic returned from prison to join the Falcons. Nope, it was the Eagles. Giants won more games than Washington. True. Yep. Packers made the playoffs with the negative point differential. I believe it. No, they weren't 11-5. Saved. Game solved, saying holy ball knowledge. I appreciate it. Thank you. Fell just short of eclipsing 2,000 yards. Now he got there. CJ2K. Johnson did leave the league in receiving yards. They were above 500. No, they were 8-8 that year, weren't they? Oh, they did go 9-7. The classic Tomlin 9-win season. Lamar going deep on third down. He got flowers. Wow, they picked it up. Fitzgerald had over 1,000 receiving yards. He had to have, right? Cowboys won more games than the Eagles. They did. They won the division, didn't they? Didn't they? No? Oh, wow. Just kidding. They both won 11. Lions had the first overall pick before the season and selected Goff. Nope, it would have been Stafford. Nope, Ryan was not a rookie that year. It was Percy Harvin. Cutler had a touchdown to interception ratio greater than 1 with 26 like team. He threw 26 picks. I was like, there's no way. Like, I knew he threw a lot, but there's no way it was that many, right? That's insane. Hold on. All right. Also, Lamar's going deep again. Oh, nearly picked. Schaub broke the pass completion percentage record. No, but Breeze did, didn't he? Yeah. Chiefs were the worst team in their conference. No. Yep. Seahawks won the NFC West with a losing record. That would have been the next year. Bang, let's go. Maybe got saved a few times from the TNF, but overall, not a bad performance. I'll take it. I appreciated Game Solved. That was awesome. That made me so happy that I was able to do that. I do love me some 2009 NFL lore right there. Shout out Game Solved for making that quiz. I appreciate it. Now, back to our regularly scheduled football programming. Lamar going down on a 2nd and 10. Chargers getting the sack. So here we go. We're catching up here a little bit, right? First drive of the second half. Ravens got the ball here in Chargers territory. Lamar had a few nice passing plays, right? But here we go. This bend but don't break Chargers defense getting home. It's not a big loss on the sack, right? Obviously still in field goal range, but now a very interesting third down here. Game solved with the fire emoji. 3rd and 10, and I'm going to say it again. SoFi is loud. Good to see Derwin get home. They'll dump it off to Flowers, and he's not going to be able to turn up field. They get the stop on 3rd down. They'll keep it a 1-score game. But that was fun. That was a lot of fun. Oh, I do love me some Sporkle quizzes. You know, we've done the grids before, and the grids are great too, but it's nice to mix it up every once in a while. So here we go. Here comes Justin Tucker. They're showing some of his kicks right now. You want to talk about someone on hashtag watch? It's Justin Tucker. It kind of sucks to say this 45-yarder is not a gimme. He got this one, though. Got that one. You know, it's so easy to try and speculate, like, what has happened with Tucker, right? Can't necessarily be a physical decline, you wouldn't think. He's obviously been around for a while, but he's not like Adam Vinatieri old yet, right? Some people speculate, was it the Travis Kelce kicking tee incident? Like, did it really get in his head that much? It's tough to say. Who knows for sure, right? And honestly, Tucker wasn't even like the very, very best last season either, right? Like, but man, like he has kind of been, I don't want to say a liability, but he hasn't been great this year. I don't have his stats pulled up right now, but I mean, we have all seen it, right? He's been missing some kicks. Michael saying he believes that 2009 was the first year of Red Zone 2. I think it was, because this is so weird, right? This is like the stuff that I remember, and this is why I was able to be like, Josh Freeman, Mark Sanchez, Matthew Stafford, right? But I had an NFL.com fantasy football preview magazine, right? I actually first got exposed to this checking it out at my elementary school's library, of all places. You could like check out magazines as well as books, right? And NFL.com had their own fantasy football preview magazine. They stopped making them a while ago, right? But they had the 2009 preview magazine with Larry Fitzgerald on the cover, right? That magazine is what got me into fantasy football. Like after reading that, I was like, yo, I want to play fantasy football next year. Like by the time I checked it out, the season was already done, but it was just fun to read. But I remember seeing an ad for NFL Red Zone in the magazine, and it was Larry Fitzgerald like stretching for the pylon against the Panthers, right? And it was like, see every touchdown from every game. And it's just crazy to think like how much Red Zone has grown and evolved since then, right? But I think you're right. Let's actually look that up. But I think you're right. First year of NFL Red Zone. I believe you are right, Michael. 2008. Wait, hold on. So Scott Hanson transitioned into studio hosting in 2008 and was the host of NFL Red Zone during its inaugural season in 2009. You nailed it, Michael. Yeah, that's crazy. I wonder if they have a picture. Holy crap. Look at Scott, man. Look at Scott Hanson, man. That's crazy. Look at how far we've come. Look at that graphic. Oh, man. Remember when Andrew Siciliano hosted Red Zone 2? That's crazy. There he is. Anyways, a little Red Zone nostalgia right there. Man, Red Zone used to be so hard to get to. Like, if you didn't have DirecTV, you were screwed. It's a little bit easier to find now, right? You get NFL Plus or anything like that. Parachamp saying Sporkle is fire. It is, man. Such a great just way to pass the time, you know, exercise your brain a little bit, have fun. I do like non-football Sporkle quizzes sometimes too. I love the geography quizzes. Sometimes me and Christine will sit down, do a few pop culture quizzes. There's everything on there, man. There is everything on there. J.K. Dobbins banged up, it looks like. Man, he just can't catch a break, man. It's so sad. He's a great player, right? Both the Harbaughs just speak so highly of him, right? There he is jogging around right now. Questionable with a knee. He's having a pretty good year this year, too. Herbert will just check it down. There's the fullback. They have like 3 fullbacks that they use. There's one of them, the fullback. Herbert checking it down. Tucker Fisk. I'm not going to lie. I kept saying the fullback because I didn't know his name, but I do know they have like a rotation of fullbacks, actually. ESPN has him listed as a tight end. You can't fool me. He's wearing number 42. That's a fullback. Jetpunk. I've never heard of that before. They've got good geography quizzes on there. I might have to try that out sometime. Jetpunk. Did I just get put on something? Try the World Flags one. It's impossible. I'll have to give that a try later. Maybe next stream we'll pull out the Jetpunk World Flags quiz. Or we'll just have like a casual, chill, like kicking back type of stream. Something like that. I've got stuff planned. There's stuff in the works. But I like that. I'm getting put on different quizzes now. That's awesome. Gus Edwards getting wrapped up for nothing there. Nothing. Here we go. 3rd down. What do you got, Herbert? One of the ESPN graphics says 2nd and 3. It's actually 3rd and 5. Oh! Oh! That was a nice throw right there. Pressure in his face. He's fallen back. Throwing to the far sideline on 3rd and 5. That is a high-level play right there by Justin Herbert. My goodness. Look at this. Oh, he's just kind of fading back. It's not quite the full-on Jordan Love fadeaway, but that is a beauty from Herbie right there. Herbie fully loaded. Man. Now we'll hand it back off. There's Hassan Haskins. Of course, I say this. Hassan Haskins has been pretty good for the Chargers. Of course, they got the Michigan man up now, but... Ron saying, is it weird that I like both Eli and Peyton, but I can't stand their alternate commentary? No, I get that, right? Like, I will say, when I throw on Monday Night Football, I still usually have the regular broadcast on, right? I think one thing is, like, it's kind of weird that, like, they're not in the same studio together, right? Like, they're essentially just on a Zoom call. Like, I feel like the vibes and the chemistry would go up a lot more simply by having them in the same room, right? Like... And their guests, like, I get it's hard to, like, get 4 guests out to your location for the game, right? Like, it's like Mike Vrabel. They've got a few other guys on today, right? It's hard to get, like, Joel McHale and 3 other people to, like, come out for the Manning cast just for one night. But I do think, like, if they did want to improve upon it, it's not a bad idea, right? But if they did want to improve upon it, like, let's make this an in-person thing, right? I'm believe me, I should be the last person on planet Earth to like be too harsh on like alternate broadcast, right? Because like, you know, imagine like watching someone watching the game, right? But so no, I think it's cool that like we have all these different alternate broadcasts, but it's a nice idea. The execution isn't perfect for a company like ESPN that has infinite money at their disposal. You know what I'm saying? Like, it's like what, year 4 of the Manning cast now? All right, we could maybe take another step. That being said, I haven't watched the Manning cast in a minute. I like going back and watching clips from the Manning cast later though, right? It gives us some fun moments, right? And Peyton and Eli are like, they're funny guys. Like I like them too, but yeah. Hard to top Joe and Troy though, isn't it? Unless it's the doctor, of course. Unless it's me, I can top them. Hold up. 3rd and 8. Look out, Herbert. Oh! Man, back-to-back weeks of Chargers primetime got me into a Herbert fanboy. What a throw. Just off platform, no problem. Look at him just dodge the blitzer. Whoop. Oh, come on. My goodness. And he's been going to Ladd a lot. Ladd's up to 60 yards now through the air. What a pick he's been, man. Yeah, they could have got Neighbors, and that would have been cool. But Alton Ladd instead, yeah, that'll work. That'll work. Man. Here we go. Yeah, keep letting Herbert cook, honestly. He's going to step up, just slide. You know, Herbert is a guy that's like sneaky been injury prone a little bit, just like dealing with a lot of injuries over the past few years. So I get like, we were talking about the first half, like, wow, he's going down early. He's sliding early. But considering some of the injuries he's dealt with, that makes sense. That's understandable, right? That's another reason why they got Alt. Like Herbert was getting banged up behind a bad offensive line. Now their tackles are set. They could still use some more on the interior, but you can't build Rome in a day, right? You can't get every single thing you need in one off season. So I like their process. Look out. Here's another blitz. That's a great blitz right there. 2nd and long. Humphrey just coming through bare naked. Now Herbert's a little shaken up maybe. There you go. Give some props right there to Zach Orr. That's how you can manufacture pressure. To go back and answer your question, I feel so bad. I'm trying to remember who asked it. Whoever asked me about the Ravens scheming things up, right? More blitzes like that. There's your answer. Third and long. Can they make it 4 straight 3rd down conversions? Herbert's been a monster on 3rd and long today. They're giving him time. Nothing. Just throws it away. All right, Ravens defense holding up. We might be getting back to a 1-point game here. Game solved saying minus the Falcons. Which team has made the worst decision in the first round of the draft? Could be choosing the wrong player, trading down or up. Ooh, that's a great question. That's a great question. What have been some other rough first round picks so far? Let me think about that for a sec. Because, yeah, the Falcons are the easy answer, right? So, yeah, let's get a little more creative. I'm going to have to pull up the first round here and take a look at it. There's nothing that's, like, immediately springing to mind. NFL draft, first round. Let's take a look, shall we? Oh, we don't want a signing tracker. Man, let's see. Latham has been a little shaky right now, but I get they wanted to take an offensive lineman, and they're trusting on this coaching staff to develop him. It hasn't quite been there yet, but it's like, okay, they were probably counting on Alt to fall to them. I won't ding the Titans too harshly for that one. Man. That's kind of tough. I mean, I don't want to be too hard on the Chiefs for the Worthy pick because I get what they're trying to do, right? They were trying to add like a more explosive element to their offense. And I know there was like the whole big Worthy versus Keon Coleman debate. Honestly, with the benefit of hindsight now, honestly, the guy they probably need the most is Ladd. And a lot of people were mocking Ladd to the Chiefs at 32, right? That was a popular match in mock drafts. I don't want to call that the biggest mistake necessarily. Like, it's harsh to say, oh, this was a terrible, terrible mistake. But I do think, like, if the Chiefs could do it over, they'd be like, man, we could really use Ladd right now, right? If you had to, like, give him truth serum. Pearsall is kind of bad. He did have that nice catch a few weeks ago, but yeah, he hasn't played a whole lot yet. And, it was a luxury pick for the Niners at the time. And, like, they probably didn't know that, like, oh, we're going to be 5-6. And, like, we did kind of, like, hope that we wouldn't need contributions from other positions because we're set and we can develop Pearsall. And that's a very good point, Parachamp. He did indeed get shot. So maybe that is true. I shouldn't be laughing. But he did get shot. Like, that is a thing. See, and it's like some of the guys that, like, haven't performed the greatest. Like, Terrion Arnold's been up and down, but, like, that pick makes sense. What else were they going to do, right? Maybe they could have gotten Cooper DeJean, right? Oh, that was, it was a mistake that maybe Cooper DeJean fell as much as he did in the draft. He was a guy I thought the Packers might take, and, like, I don't know that Jordan Morgan's played a whole lot. I haven't really given an answer yet. I'm going to say, how about the Bengals? Mims, I know they developed him, but it's like, man, they just need defense right now. They could have used, like, Quinyon Mitchell or Cooper DeJean or something, Darius Robinson, yeah. I haven't really, like, heard about him at all. Honestly, and I'm still holding out hope, Vikings gave up a lot for Dallas Turner, and he hasn't played a whole lot. Granted, we've got 2 other big edge acquisitions this year. It's, like, harder for him to see the field with Van Ginkel and Grenard, but I'm still just like, we did give up a lot for that. Herbert with the juke on Puna. Herbert. Lamar. Whoopsies. I should probably give an answer, though. Whatever. The Chiefs could use Ladd more than Worthy. They got baited by his speed. Oh, well. Ron saying, oh, right, being shot definitely puts a damper on your season. TV shows make it seem like being shot as non-lethal is not a big deal. Nah, man, it takes a long time to fully recover. It's kind of crazy that he's playing right now, right? And I know there's been, like, the jokes and the tweets of, like, the 49ers healthiest receiver got shot back in August. It is, like, insane that he's even out there on the field, though. I don't envy it. I hope that I never get shot. That is my take. I hope I never get shot. That would be nice. Oh! What a play! Is that Khalil Mack? Unk still got it. He just brought down Lamar in the open field on a designed quarterback run on 3rd and 1. Unk still got it. Look at Khalil Mack getting lateral. Lamar tries to juke him and he says no. 4th and short again. Here we go. The Ravens are going. They want to compete. Henry's got it. And then some. Running through tackles. Derrick Henry, stiff arm. First down to the 34. Helmet's coming off. It's carnage. The Ravens came to compete. Oh, man. This game is ruled. This game is ruled, man. This has been a great game. Oh. Two of the best teams in the AFC trading blows. There, I said it. Maybe not the favorites necessarily. Are these 2 of the 5 best teams in the AFC? Just might be. This could be a little playoff preview. I could sign up for 4 more quarters of this in the playoffs. I could get down with that. Now here's the changeup, Justice Hill. Flag will fly. Hey, here we go, right? Run play, flag, holding. Yeah, John Harbaugh knows. He's like, oh, really? That was a big man run. Michael St. Pearsall got shot in the chest and came back. Michael Thomas, what's your excuse? Oh, Michael Thomas. You want to talk about a fall off? What happened to him, man? Injuries and attitude. I mean, that's the answer, but like, still, my goodness. And Drew Brees retiring. They had a crazy connection. As much as like, oh, they use like the slant man or whatever, right? Honestly, there's worse things to be than Drew Brees' slant man, right? Like, that's a pretty nice job to have, but didn't last very long. I remember he and Xavier Rhodes were going back and forth in the Vikings playoff game, the Minneapolis Miracle game. Oh, they were going back and forth all game. Tylan Wallace, big catch. We've seen him pop up every once in a while. He's a fun, like, recurring character on the Ravens where, like, once or twice a season he'll pop up and it's like, oh, right, Tylan Wallace just made a crazy play, right? Last year was the walk-off punt return. This year, the Thursday night game against the Bengals, he had a long touchdown, had a 100-yard game. And now here's Tylan Wallace with an underrated but key catch on 1st and 19, right? If the Ravens end up scoring points on this drive, that 15-yard play on 1st and 19 is a big reason why. They did themselves a lot of favors with those 15 yards. And it's Tylan Wallace. Good answer. Good answer. It's Poona. It's Poona Ford making the play. Yeah, it's Poona Ford. We were talking about him yesterday. Let's go. Poona. Oh, I love him so much. I just love the way he's built. I love the way he plays, man. Here we go. 3rd and 4 might be the final play of the quarter. We're gearing up for a fantastic 4th quarter. Oh, I think Bateman got it on the stretch. They're going to say he's down short. What a tackle. What a tackle. Here we go. Let's see. We got a nice angle right here on the camera. Oh, yeah, he is down. He is down short. It's going to be 4th and short. Going into the 4th quarter. Raise your freaking 4s. Hey, what else is there to say? Who's got it better than us? The football fans? Who's got it better than us? Nobody. Oh, let's go. Great looking 4th quarter here. Monday night. Who's got it better than us? Just sitting here watching football, talking ball in the chat. In the season of Thanksgiving, it's nice to give gratitude. That is something I'm actually just like legitimately trying to do more of in my life, right? I'm just trying to like be active and like practicing gratitude and stuff. Let the Harbaugh brothers be a nice reminder. Let Thanksgiving too, but today, before Thanksgiving even, to get us prepared for Thanksgiving, let that Harbaugh family mantra be a nice reminder. Who's got it better than us? Nobody. Game solved. Nice little transition. What happened to the pigskin parlay this week? So let's just say this, right? I did 2 players, right, for $5. Just keep it light, right? And it's like, really, it's only 1 because I did the Tyreek Hill Thanksgiving free space, right, over a yard. That will hit unless something tragic happens to Tyreek Hill, right? Like Tyreek Hill will get a yard on Thursday. So really, all I need is 1, right? All I need is Rome Odunze to get 9.1 fantasy points, right? Take a wild guess how many fantasy points Rome Odunze finished with. His over-under was set at 9. He got 8.9. So I lost. Again, that is why Vegas has golden buildings. But anyways, we got Henry in here. Let's go. Welcome to the stream, Henry. Good to have you back in here. Saying, how's it going? Eric checking in from the Classic City. Yeah, I figured you were back in Georgia based off of Instagram stories. Let's go. Welcome back to the Peach State in the Classic City. Appreciate you spending your time in Georgia here with me. That is awesome. I'm assuming you're gearing up for Thanksgiving yourself. I'm actually going back home tomorrow. I fly out of Atlanta to Minneapolis and then Minneapolis to Fargo. I'm going to have a nice little journey. I'll be in Fargo tomorrow night, which is like crazy to wrap my head around. This is actually the longest I've gone without being in Fargo since we moved there when I was like 1.5 years old, right? It's been a little over 9 months now since I've been in Fargo. Longest I've gone without being in Fargo. It's crazy, right? Even the summer when I like went home, we really just went to the lake. I didn't even go home. So I will actually be back in Fargo like right before midnight tomorrow. So I'm pretty excited for that. That'll be fun. But good to have you in here. Let's go. Let's go. Ron saying knee hit just before he stretched. Hard to pull off the deception these days. Yeah, they got it. They got replay everywhere, right? What if he gets arrested on his way to the airport, to the game again? Yeah, that was crazy. That was crazy. Honestly, could have gone a lot worse, all things considered. So it was good that, like, you know, he was able to play and, yeah. But, yeah, no, he got 8.9. A push, I would have at least got my money back, right? But no, he got 8.9. I couldn't believe it. But that is why Vegas has golden buildings. Ravens into the red zone now, getting Zay Flowers involved a little bit more. Doesn't have a lot of catches today. I think that's only his 4th catch I'm looking at right now. But the catches he has had have been big ones. Man, if you're Baltimore, right, you really want to get a touchdown. You don't want to keep letting the Chargers hang around. And we've seen this so many times. Like, if they do score, they're not going to go for 2 to make it a 9-point game, I won't think. I still don't get why more teams don't do that. But, like, you almost never see that in the NFL. They're marching towards the end zone, though, right? I mean, Henry's barreling downhill now. You know. But they have not finished all their drives, you know, but they haven't made it this far in like most of their field goal drives necessarily either. So Sebastian saying, unpopular opinion, field goals are for nerds and they should try and give teams who try it -3 points. I love it. Don't kick. Come to compete. I love it. Come to compete. That should be like a catchphrase or something. I don't know, right? 4th down, just come to compete, man. Just come to compete, you know? Go get the 3 yards. It's more entertaining for us, the fans, too, right? Like, forget just like the optimization or making the right call. That's what we want to see, right? The people. Give the people what they want. But, I mean, field goals are definitely a part of the game. Don't get me wrong. Like, there's nothing wrong with like a nice 55-yarder. But I think in a situation like this, if you're the Ravens, you really want a touchdown, right? Oh, good play. Like, being up 1 versus being up 4, that certainly helps a little bit because now a field goal can't even tie it, let alone give you the lead, right? But, man, if you can get it to an 8-point game, or if you really want to try even a 9-point game, right? If you can get it to a 2-score game, like, being up 9 just means so much in this situation, you know? But football without the feet. No, I mean, I'm not saying like abolish the field goal or anything, but nothing wrong with getting a little crazy and going for it. Lamar rips it. Oh, what a catch. Oh, what a catch. No, they say incomplete. They waved it off. Hold on. Let's see the replay. Hold on a sec. Will we get the replay assist? Will the Ravens even need to challenge this? We might get the expedited replay assist. Tyler Linderbaum thinks it's a touchdown. Yeah, it is a touchdown. They ruled a touchdown. There's the replay assist. What a catch. Mark Andrews beating the washed allegations 1 week at a time. That was a great second effort. The ball popped out for a sec. He was able to like re-corral it. That is a heck of an effort by Mark Andrews. He didn't have it, and then he did. 2 feet and some cheeks down. That is a touchdown all the way. Oh. They are going to go for 2. Let's go. They're actually doing it. They're going to go for 2 and try and make it a 2-score game. Here we go. The brotherly battle. Lamar looking the other way. End zone. Oh, it's incomplete. And it's a 7-point game. But, I mean, right? Oh, they didn't get it. That sucks. 7-point game. It's worth it to try and make it a 9-point game, right? I think it is. Even though they didn't get it that time, it was worth a shot. The downside, even though it might leave a bad taste in your mouth, it might feel bad, right? It's 12, there's 12:32 left in this game. Let's say the Chargers answer with a touchdown. Does Jim have the chutzpah to try and go for two to take the lead? Now he's like, I don't think so. Maybe. Don't you just think we're going to see a wacky ending, though? But I love it. That's the brotherly competitiveness right there. You try telling me that these two coaches don't want to outdo each other. I mean, obviously, right? But like, it just means a little bit more tonight, doesn't it? I might have jinxed it, though. The doctor jinxed just a little bit. Sebastian saying the refs are trying to force another field goal because they want me to suffer, but ball don't lie. Pearchamp asking, what was the ref looking at? Why did they even need to talk about it? I'm assuming for the touchdown, right? Yeah. I mean, I guess like when like the ball like jostled loose for a little bit, the ref was like, oh, he didn't catch it. He didn't complete the process, but he was able to redo the process before getting his feet down. Pretty impressive, honestly. Takes a lot of concentration and coordination to do that. I mean, you don't need me to tell you that, right? But yeah. 7-point game, though. 7-point game. What kind of answer does this Chargers offense have? I feel like we've seen some great Herbert throws. They haven't quite been as solid or consistent on offense this week, right? And obviously Dobbins is hurt, so that's playing a role in things a little bit too. I don't know, but Michael's saying, okay, he's watching the Megan Thee Stallion documentary with me. I did not even know that was a thing. That's crazy. There's a documentary on everything these days, ain't there? Sebastian saying, by the way, did you know these coaches are siblings? I didn't. I just thought Harbaugh was like a common last name. Not sure if anyone in the NFL media has mentioned it, but the more you know, I guess. Dude, do you think Peyton and Eli are siblings too? Is that why they have the Manning cast? I thought that they were just like two quarterbacks like aspiring to break into social or sports media. That's crazy. It's called the NFL because it's the National Football League. Oh, and they play football. Okay, I get. I'm a little slow sometimes. I'm piecing these things together. Michael Sebastian, Megan Thee Stallion watch party went. I still gotta go to Waffle House with the Doty boys too. Dream Waffle House rotation. They're only half brothers. Could you imagine? You're not my real brother. Well, I guess half brothers are real brothers. I say that. If there's any half brothers out there, I'm sorry. You are a real brother. I don't know where I was going with that. Did they just go to commercial after a kickoff? Oh, I thought we were moving on from that. Ron saying, what about those Kelsey guys in their chunky soup commercials? Wasn't it crazy they found two guys with the last name? And they like kind of look alike too. Like I could almost see them being brothers, right? Like if you told me they were brothers, I would believe that, you know. I think one of them is dating a singer. Like Dua Lipa, right? Michael's being the ATL next Saturday. Dude, that's so tough. Of course, you're in the ATL when I'm in Fargo. Oh, we will make it happen, though. Oh, we will make it happen. Dang, that's so tough. I suppose. I know Jack had mentioned going to the SEC championship game, right? Wait, I'm so silly. That's not next week. Oopsies. That's not next week. See, it goes to show how much I know about college football, but Taylor Swift has a boyfriend that made a game show. That's actually something I don't get, the game show. That is like actually genuinely going over my head, but Gabe saying, why does nobody in the media mention how there are 8 divisions but only 7 playoff spots per conference? Wait. Oh, took me a second. Sebastian saying, speaking of celebrities, y'all just see that Drake sued UMG because of how much Not Like Us hurt his feelings. I know, that's crazy. Drake, bro, just take the L. Like, I don't know, man. Dog, you're like 40. Don't you have like more pressing matters on your hand? I don't know. I don't know Drake as a person. I don't know him, but like, I don't know, dude. Like, just take the L, bro. It's all right. You came at Kendrick and you lost, right? Like, I don't know. That's my take on the Drake Kendrick beef. Drake, just give it up, dude. Kendrick won. He's doing his victory lap. He's gonna do the Super Bowl halftime show. It's gonna rock. You know, I still need to listen to his new album. I have not listened to it yet, but I'll get to that. Maybe when I drive to the airport tomorrow, that's what I'll listen to. Is I'll listen to the new Kendrick. But any of y'all listened to the new Kendrick yet? Dropped a couple days ago now. People seem to like it. People have been vibing with it on the Twitter timeline and everything, right? They're fighting over something. Something. Man, that feels like a long time ago, you know? Man, when that first started, Travis Kelce hosted a game show called Are You Smarter Than a Celebrity? I vaguely remember that. It's like the Are You Smarter Than a Fifth Grader spinoff, right? I think. Okay, I do vaguely remember that now. Also had Catching Kelce. That's a deep cut. There's Will Dissly. I think that's his second catch of the day. Had some people that needed him for fantasy. There you go, right there. Maybe a little bit of a touchdown will help him out. Drake really woke up and thought, yeah, this will be the move that will make everyone stop laughing at me. Ron saying he gave up watching college football, have enough trouble keeping up with the pros. No, I get that, right? It is just so hard to be invested in like every sport, you know, and the fact that they go on at the same time, right? And like, I don't know, like this might sound crazy too, right? As like Mr. Football with like a YouTube channel. We'll see what this Herbert third down brings us here. Oh, they're going to get the flag. Oh, the Ravens coaches can't believe it. Oh, they are livid. I get it. He didn't get his head around. That was also another, like, I know I might be over the top with my Herbert love here tonight. That was a crazy ball by Herbert. Let's see. Oh, that's Trey White they got. And he grabbed him a little bit there, too. Yeah. Oh. Offsetting penalties. Well, shoot. All right, we'll just run it back. I'm okay with that, right? Just do the play over. I feel like that's a fair result given what happened out on the field. Nothing wrong with that. Yeah, we got Jack in here. Let's go. Saying yo to you. How about it? Welcome to the stream, Jack. And hey. How about those Seahawks? Huh? Big win. Spoon making some big plays. JSN coming through again. Did someone say Mike McDonald? Did someone say resurgence? I don't know. That's crazy. We've got the brothers of Dr. Pigskin. Oh, no. Q dropped it. No. Oh, man. That is a game-changing play right there. When it matters most. We're back to not his fault ball. We could only go oh so long without Herbert's receivers selling him. Oh my goodness. Are you kidding me? The Ravens have the chance to maybe close it out a little bit. Man. Oh, poor Q, man. It's been an up and down career for him so far. He's had some nice moments. It was nice to see the Chargers locker room really rally around him earlier on in the year. He had a great game, right? He got a game ball. Everyone's going, Q. But man, 2 targets, 0 catches, and a killer drop on 3rd and 6. That is a killer drop right there. Oh. But the Ravens, they have the chance. Even points, even a field goal here. See now, field goal will do you a lot of good, right? You just want to get it to a 2-score game here, right? If you're the Chargers, you might get 2 possessions the rest of the game, right? You got to be playing some pretty good ball from here on out, right? Man, That series completely changed the complexion of this game. Man, here we go. Here we go. Someone say Mike McDonald. Sebastian saying in Canada, it's especially tough because the games aren't broadcasted, and that Google page for college football usually only covers the top 25 teams in the rankings. Oh, I can imagine, right? It's probably really hard to find a game on TV. And there are just a lot of games to keep track of. And you know, this is what I was like getting to earlier, right? Like, I say this as Mr. Football, right? Mr. Dr. Pigskin with a YouTube channel and all that. And believe me, like Sunday I'm locked in, I'm watching the NFL. But honestly, like I say this as someone that adores football so much, right? But like the tough thing about college football is like being on a Saturday. Like honestly, like as much as I love football, like I've learned that like I don't want to devote like my entire weekend to football, especially now as like now that I'm like no longer in school, like having like a 9 to 5 job that sometimes even like I'm working nights and weekends, like honestly, like it's nice to just like have my Saturday, you know, like, so usually I'm not like super locked into like college football games or anything, you know, like I'm usually, I know it's hard to believe because like, as I exist right now on the screen, right? Like I'm the football guy, right? But like, it's nice to like have my Saturday and like not as weird as it is, like not watch football, you know, and then I can just like lock in like Sunday, that's my football day, you know. So, and not to mention like Thursday and Monday too. So like I'm already devoting pretty much one full day and then 2 nights to football. So it's nice to just like have Saturday to like go to the farmer's market, you know. Sometimes I go to like the farmer's market or Target. Anyways, but also like at the same time, I will say, like full on football weekend, both Saturday and Sunday, there's nothing wrong with that. Like that is pretty sick too, you know, or like Saturday Premier League or something like that, you know, so ain't nothing wrong with that either. But Jack saying, my Vikings really had to make it interesting. Dude, I'm telling you, Vikings Bears at Soldier Field, most cursed matchup ever. That was like a normal Vikings Bears in Chicago game. that was par for the course for that matchup. Oh man. Perry Champ is tied in fantasy right now, 91.6 to 91.6. He needs one more catch from Flowers or Dissly. I think we're gonna see it. Right? Surely. Knock on wood. Not ready to jinx it, but yeah. Not Greg Roman's fault. It's never his fault. We're gonna not his fault, Greg Roman. Oh, they stood up Henry. Hold on. We will get the third down here. Silly Sane only locked in on Aggie and primetime NFL games. Hey, that's a nice football diet right there, right? Big Aggies. Oh, it will be a war on Saturday for the Aggies. That's going to be crazy. That is going to be crazy. Like I said, might flip that game on. I can't lie. Might have to flip that game on. I'm starting to get there, Jack. I'll have to sit down and think. I'm starting to get there, though. He's got the goods. JSN, he's got the goods. Oh! Henry double stiff arm. He got it. Oh, my goodness. Derrick Henry. Oh, that is one of the better 4-yard runs that you will ever see. Oh, stiff arm. 2 guys got to him behind the line on 3rd and 1. Stiff arms, both of them for the first down. Oh, that is awesome. That is honestly one of the better Derrick Henry runs from this season. Considering the context of that situation, that was a crazy play by Derrick Henry. Man, Sebastian saying we need to tell him to get the ball to Flowers. Hey, let's give John a call. Let's give him a call. Game solved asking which Week 12 game shocked me the most. Honestly, probably the Cowboys winning, to be honest with you, or the Titans, right? We did see 2 big upsets. It was not the ones I predicted. Whatever. It's chill. The Colts-Lions game was closer than the final score. Anyways. I'm not crazy. I don't know. The Cowboys with Cooper Rush going into Landover and winning is crazy. That is crazy. And I thought this was going to be the Washington get right game on offense. Their 26 points is a little misleading. Their offense was pretty bad in that game. And then the missed extra point after the crazy touchdown to Terry that looked like it was going to like reinvigorate Washington and maybe like inject some much needed momentum into their season, right? Like, nah. That ended up not being the case. Oh, Justice Hill. There he goes. It's 3rd and 2. He scores. It's a touchdown. Justice Hill. The changeup. 51 yards to the crib. Back-to-back big runs on 3rd down for the Ravens. Here we go. 7:24 left. The Ravens, they can taste it now. They needed this one to bounce back to a little bit. They can taste it. Man, no catch for Flowers, but you know, he did draw some attention with the motion. There you go. Oh, I mean, Hill just waltzed in. We got a player down for the Chargers. We got Goat Kid in here. Welcome to the stream, Goat Kid. Good to have you back in here. Saying good evening, Doc. Good evening to you, too. Bills off this week. You get to take it easy, right? Just watch the other teams and judge them. Huh. You didn't beat the Chiefs. You didn't beat the Chiefs. R.I.P. Derrick Henry owners in fantasy. Yeah, I mean, they're probably doing all right. He's got a $119 on the ground. No touchdowns, but you know, could be worse, right? But yeah, Justice Hill getting the touchdown. Career-long touchdown for him. Yeah, the Commanders kicker, John Carney. That's a great call right there. The Saints' crazy lateral play only to miss the extra point. There's a John Boys video on that one, too. Yeah, that's a great call right there. Michael disagreeing with the JSN take. He's a top 2 receiver on the Seahawks. I think he might be their best receiver. I'd take him over DK, I think. I might not say top 10 yet. Top 20? Oh, yeah. Let's have that conversation. I could get down with that. Top 15? Ooh, we start to get a little interesting, maybe. But he is good. He is a good player, man. He's looking like the best receiver from that class. I say that. My favorite team has a receiver from that class who's pretty good, but I would take JSN over Addison pretty comfortably, honestly. I don't know. He's good. He's good. But behind Romeo Doubs and Jordan Love. Some of these Packers bits. We got the Romeo Doubs bit. Shout out Caden. That is an OG Dr. Pigskin bit from last year. Dobbs better than Jefferson. Goodness. That was a great bit. We got the Jordan Love bit. There are some good bits in this chat. Goat Kid saying, you know it, stress-free week. Oh, Parachamp got his catch from Flowers. We're big chilling. We're big chilling. Oh, yeah, he's up to 5 catches now. Let's go. He is 6th in the league in receiving yards. Nah, and he's been on a heater recently. Okay. So let me sit down. Now, you got me thinking about this. Let me sit down. Off the dome, receivers I'd take over JSN right now. We'll go Jefferson. We'll go Chase. We'll go A.J. Brown. We'll go CeeDee Lamb. Shoot. Already starting to get interesting. We'll go Tyreek Hill. We'll still go Tyreek Hill. Amon-Ra, JSN. Similar-ish players. I still might go Amon-Ra. I'll go Puka over JSN. Sorry. I just love Puka so much. He's so good, dude. We're at 7 right now. Pickens or JSN? That's an interesting one, right? I'm thinking about the wide receiver, the receiving yards leaderboard. Pickens is up there in receiving yards too. Pickens or JSN? 2 very, very different players. I might take JSN over Pickens, though, I'll say. Ayuk, I'm normally pretty high on, but he's had a pretty rough year, and now he's injured. JSN or Ayuk? Ooh. Interesting. I might say JSN now. Terry McLaurin or JSN? Ooh. I want to say JSN. I can't lie. We're at 7 right now. Hold on. This is getting interesting. I'll take Mike Evans over JSN. I will. I know he's been a little banged up. again, two very different players. Evans is more the deep threat, the big body. JSN's the separator. And you might argue that like JSN is like the meta at wide receiver right now. You want the guy that can separate and who's good after the catch more than like the big body deep threat. But I just love Mike Evans so much. And despite him maybe not being like the prototype anymore for wide receiver, still an incredibly great player. All right, we're up to 8. Drake London, that's an interesting one, right? We were having a good talk about Drake London on here last week, right? You might think he's like Mike Evans, but he is more of like the power slot, right? Whereas like he's big, but he's not necessarily a guy you throw it to down the field. He's more of gonna live in like the intermediate area. I like Drake London a lot. I'll say Drake London. All right, we're at 9. DJ Moore or JSN. That's a good one. I'll go DJ Moore. I know he hasn't been bought in all the way. But I still think he's an incredibly good player. And since they switched over to Thomas Brown at offensive coordinator, he's been a lot more productive. So we're at 10. Kupp over JSN. I think that one's actually pretty close. And I say this as like Mr. Rams fanboy, right? Kupp is still an incredibly good player. Oh my goodness. 50 on the Ravens just got killed. Sorry, I had to like stop for a sec. Like, I don't know if y'all saw that. I don't know who 50 is off the top of my head, but he just got murdered. Oh my gosh. That is like one of the most violent oh my goodness. Thank you, Henry. Nico Collins is an easy one. Okay, that puts us at 11. I will still say Kupp. 12. Yeah. Malik Neighbors is an interesting one. Honestly, if you want to put Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. in those conversations already, you totally could. I'll take JSN over both those. Okay, let's say like 13 to 15. That seems like a fair enough spot for him. 13 to 15. That is a great leap for him, though, considering last year he was like underwhelming as a rookie, which is crazy because he still got like 600 receiving yards as a rookie last year, right? Let me pull up his stats here. I spelled his first name wrong. It's chill, though. Right, they're sorting out a penalty right now on the field. Pass incomplete, but PI. Okay, so the Chargers are more or less going to get the yards, right? He's already got like more receiving yards than he did all of last season, right? I mean, look at the tear he's been on recently. My goodness, they have really unlocked him. Yeah, he had 628. He had 63 for 628 and 4 touchdowns last year. Oh, Herbert was looking for Palmer. Could have made the adjustment. That would have been a tough catch, but he showed us enough in his rookie year last year, like that crazy one-hander versus the 49ers. He had a few nice games. He was the guy that caught the Drew Lock pass too, right? To beat the Eagles. It's like, okay, there's obviously a very good player here, right? It's his first year. And you know who was the offensive coordinator. I will give you that, Jack. You know who. Public enemy number 1 was calling plays last year in Seattle. Oh, Herbert goes down. Kyle Van Noy. Ball came out too. See about the flag here. Oh, it's on the Chargers. Holding and you give up the sack. I like to call that the TJ Clemmings special. If you know, you know. Game Solve saying, who's the best? Garrett Wilson, Chris Olave, or JSN? Ooh. I still might say Wilson. I know he's a bit of like a hypothetical man, right? When it comes to like, oh, if he had a real QB and now Rodgers is there, and it's like, well, Rodgers maybe isn't that good, and their whole team is a disaster. But I still think like, man, there's just so much talent there. I might say Wilson, JSN, Olave. That's really tough though. They're all special players. Herbert looking for Palmer again. Oh, they get the flag. There's Brandon Stevens getting dunked on again. Kind of. I mean, he didn't give up the catch, but he gave up the PI. Palmer just kind of jumped on him and they got the flag. I swear, he gets mossed more than anyone else in the NFL, man. People just go up and dunk on him every week. He's not even a bad player. He's just like always seems to be in the wrong spot at the wrong time. Let's see. Oh, they're going to pick it up. Yeah, that's legit. John was like, you didn't even need to throw it in the first place, bro. Amon-Ra gets the edge because of the Little Caesars commercial. Everyone but you, Kittle. That was pretty funny. Pizza, pizza. Olave, yeah, I will say the concussions have gone to Olave, and he also has not necessarily been in great situations in New Orleans. Man. Oh, no, I think the fact that he's even in like top 10 conversations, the fact that I had to like sit down and think about it and list out guys and be like, oh, I don't know, right? Like that speaks very highly of his development. I think like no matter where Dr. Pigskin has JSN in his wide receiver rankings, if you're Seattle or if you're a Seattle fan, right, you've got to be thrilled with how he's looking right now. Like you've got a great player in him. Absolutely. So, but I'd say like, yeah, 14, 15, I think that's about where I'd put him right now. But if you want to make the argument for top 10, I'm not going to be like, oh, just what a terrible take, you know? No, I think that's valid. I would take him. I think I already said this. I would take him over Addison. You know, I'd certainly take him over Quentin Johnston. I'd take him over Zay Flowers. Those are the receivers from that first round, right? I'm trying to think if there's anyone else in the first round. I know there's a big run on receivers, but yeah, man. Again, he's another guy where it's like, oh, was I talking about this yesterday? It's like, oh, well, he's maybe just a slot guy. It's like, okay. That's fine, though. Like, offenses have gotten really good at, like, making even slot-only receivers into, like, the top guy in an offense, you know? Like, the Rams won a Super Bowl with by far, their top receiver being a slot guy, right? You know, it can happen. Last year with Rashee Rice on the Chiefs, right? Oh, he's a slot guy, right? But, man, it worked. It worked. It is interesting to see how much the slot receiver position has evolved too. I mean, we're talking about Drake London, like the power slot, right? We're seeing that a lot more, right? Drake London, big 6'5" receiver. About 55 to 60% of his snaps are in the slot, right? You look at like some of these tight ends being used in the slot a lot more, right? Like Dalton Kincaid, for example. How about the Jaguars' usage of Evan Ingram, right? Even though he's not necessarily like a power tight end, right? Bigger bodies going up against these smaller nickel corners, and then in turn defenses have started rolling out the big nickel, and you've got like 6'4" safety Kyle Hamilton playing nickel corner, right? Like it is very interesting to see this game of cat and mouse that's gone on at the slot position, both at receiver and at corner the past few years. It's kind of like it's become a physical position, right? And like these slot receivers are asked to do so much as blockers because so many teams are running out to the perimeter now, right? And like if you get like, I love Kenny Moore. Kenny Moore is a great player, right? But you get like Drake London, for example, on Kenny Moore. It's like if Drake tries, if he like makes an effort in the running game, he should be able to like manhandle him, right? You know, and if you're running outside with Bijan, that's great news for you. So anyways, a little slot tangent right there. But Ron asking, do you think there's anything more insufferable in the NFL sphere than Rodgers going on McAfee once a week to talk so much, even though he's playing so badly? Oh, yeah, right. I mean, he's got his own takes and stuff. Yeah, I mean, and like, he's like saying like things need to change. Like, it's like, well, you're not helping by like just like airing your grievances on like a live stream. Well, I guess it's not a live stream anymore. It's on ESPN. It's like, dude, you're not helping, you know. But yeah, announcers glazing Mahomes for everything he does, even when he throws it in the dirt. Oh, that's such an unbelievable throwaway from Patrick Mahomes. I mean, that's just why he's the best to ever do it. I say that as someone that actually likes Chris Collinsworth, and obviously I've got a Mahomes jersey and stuff, and I could get, especially like you're rooting against the Chiefs. Yeah, I could see how that would be a little annoying, but I also just needed an excuse to pull out the Chris Collinsworth right there. But third down for the Ravens. I mean, the Chargers more or less need to stop them here if they want to get back in this game, right? Even if the Ravens get a first down, that's just going to take like another minute 20 off the clock. And we've seen The Ravens are not scared to go for it on 4th and short, deep in their own territory. They might need to stop them twice here, right? You look at the win probability right now, 98.8% for the Ravens, right? So in about only 1.2% of these worlds do the Chargers win this game. In that 1.2%, they got to get the stop here, pretty much, right? Like, yeah, Henry's got it. Henry's got it. Dude's won 3 Super Bowls in the span of 5 years. He's going to get some of that, even if it's too much. Oh, yeah, right. I mean, that's the other, like, you know what? Maybe he deserves, for lack of a better word, family friendly, whatever. Maybe he deserves some of the glaze. Michael saying the most insufferable thing in the NFL is Joe Burrow. I like Joe Burrow, and I get, like, Steelers fan, right? And again, like, I don't know. I like him. He seems to be fine. It's not like Joe is necessarily going out of his way to make Joe Shiesty a thing. Like, he didn't give himself that nickname, but he's a good quarterback too, right? You know, I think he's a really good quarterback, and he's getting sold big time this year. And as I always like to say, we've got some new people in the audience, right? But as I always like to say, for 1 year, he went to Centennial Elementary School. 2 years, actually. Went to Centennial Elementary School, an elementary school in Fargo, North Dakota. I, too, went to that same elementary school. Not at the same time. My sister was there when he was there. I don't think they knew each other or anything. But he had the same second grade teacher that I had. Obviously, he's like a few years older than me. We weren't in the same class. But he had Mrs. Carrier as his second grade teacher, as did I. It's a small world. It's a small, crazy world. So I like Joe Burrow for that reason too. But no, I like Joe Burrow. He's a good quarterback. Ron saying he's legit, completely wasted on the Bengals. Is he overrated a bit, but definitely better than the team is giving him. And I think he's played like his best football this year, honestly. Like, man, yeah. If they had like this version of Joe Burrow, this version of the Bengals passing game with like the Bengals defense from 2022, they might have won the division this year, you know, but man, that 2022 Bengals team, that might have been their best team. I think that team was better than the team that made the Super Bowl in 21, honestly. And they had the Chiefs. Like, they could have beat the Chiefs in that game, man. They really could have. They played very well in that game in Arrowhead. They win, they go to the Super Bowl, right? Man, they had a great team that year. That defense was so good. Obviously, had Burrow and Chase and Higgins, and they still had Mixon. That was a good team, man. That was a good team. I'm going to bottle up Jackson there. It's 3rd down. The Ravens are just killing clock at this point, right? This game is more or less over. Ravens, big win, though, right? Talking about trying to keep pace here in this competitive AFC North, right? The Steelers have a slight leg up on them now after beating them last week. This is a big answer for the Ravens right here, going on the road in a semi-hostile SoFi, right? They got a good effort from the Chargers, right? You might look at the final score and be like, oh, 30-16. This was a close game, right? They had to sweat this one out. They had to grind it out a little bit. They needed some big plays down the stretch. Their defense, all things considered, came to play pretty well, right? Thought, ooh, Herbert's playing pretty well. He might torch them through the air, but very encouraging if you're the Ravens to see them play the way they played on defense today, right? Holding the Chargers to 16. You don't get carved up. You don't have a receiver going for 260 yards on you, you know? Very encouraging. This is a great win for Baltimore right here. Hill, nothing on 3rd down. Ron saying, I'm just glad Nick Wright can't justify his worship of Trevor Lawrence anymore. Yeah, that's right. I mean, yeah, imagine liking Trevor Lawrence. Oh my gosh. Yeah, I'm glad that's Nick Wright's problem. I like Trevor. But I will say, both things can be true. Trevor gets sold by the Jaguars a lot, and I think that he's a better player than most people give him credit for. But I also do think that, like, it can be easy to, like, get carried away with the Trevor hype train, and that, like, he hasn't quite taken the leap that, like, people like me thought he would. Both things can absolutely be true. Trevor has not done himself any favors, especially this year, like when he was healthy, right? It's like, man, like what? Like, I think a lot of it just like mental and like maybe not trusting like the offensive system as much or like trusting the team as much, right? But it's like, man, like, why is like his pocket presence bad now, right? Like this was like the thing that's always been good with him, right? It's like, man, he's just missing a few more throws than he normally would. I still believe that, like, honestly, things will work out one day, right? Like I still believe in him as a player. I still believe in his talent. I still think he does so many things well, right? I just like to believe that, like, in due time, he might not be like the LeBron James of football or whatever, right? Like the hype was crazy for him, like coming out of college and coming out of high school even, right? He might not quite hit that levels. But like, you know, there's a good quarterback in there. And I think due time, maybe with a reboot, right? New coaching staff, just, I don't know. The OC did it again, right? But like, I am far from ready to like sell my Trevor stocks. That's what I'll say. But I'm also willing to say right now, like, okay, I would not put him in my top 10 right now, but 12 or something, maybe. But nah, like I had him at like QB9 going into the year. Now I'll bump him down a few spots. Yeah, that's fair. But Trevor, who never heard of that guy? Pearchap asking, what happens first? Jags win a playoff game or Lawrence gets traded? I'm going to assume. Again, I have to build him up just a little bit more, right? You know, I mean, he did win one, you know, but nah, they're not going to trade him. I'm going to believe, you know what? I'm just going to keep speaking this into existence. Ben Johnson, Jacksonville Jaguars head coach. Ben Johnson reinvented offense with Brian Thomas as the guy, right? They're not like, I don't know. I'm going to say Jags playoff win. I'm going to say it. Jags playoff win. I just can't help myself with this team, man. I don't know what it is. I just can't help myself. Sam saying Trevor is the main reason we were losing one-score games and not getting blown out every week. I mean, yeah, right? Like again, like, I mean, you've got Trent Baalke at GM. You've got Press Taylor calling plays, right? Yeah. Henry asking, would I rather have Trevor or Dak? I'm going to assume for like next season, right? Like, let's pretend both are healthy, right? Let's just pretend they're both healthy right now. Who would I take, Trevor or Dak? That is a tough one because I've also been like a Dak defender at times. And like, man, I was like having a party every week when he had like his MVP type of run last year. Ooh, that is honestly kind of a tough one because I feel like Dak is a little more consistent, right? I think Trevor is the higher ceiling. And obviously, like, if you do, like, oh, next 3 years and you factor in age and stuff, I might say Dak. I think I would, because I think, like, even, like, going into this year before the season started, like, I had Dak, like, a few spots higher than Trevor. Dak, I honestly think that, like, Trevor could, like, have a Dak Prescott like run like maybe a few years from now and like that might be like, oh really, Dak Prescott, that's it for Trevor? Dude, the Jaguars would love if like Trevor had like Dak Prescott production and like Dak Prescott level wins or whatever, right? Like if they were as successful as the Dak Prescott Cowboys, I think if you're the Jags, you would take that. But yeah, now Dak is good, man. He's another guy. It's like the OC did it again, you know, like that. And literally CeeDee Lamb is like the only Cowboys receiver that should like even be starting right now, right? Like Brandon Cooks in the big 2024, you know, he's out here throwing to Jalen Tolbert, you know. Dak is a guy that like pretty consistently through his career, like when he's had like semi-competent teams around him, like the Cowboys have been pretty good, all things considered, right? He was a beast last year too. I know last year is last year and we're like over halfway through this season now, and it was a lost year for the Cowboys, but I would probably say Dak still. But one day Trevor will have his Stafford like career arc. One day Herbert's gonna go down, 4th down. This one's over, but we're chilling. I mean, obviously, I would like Trevor to have his Stafford like run with Jacksonville, unless it was like the Vikings. What if Trevor Lawrence was KOC Stafford? What if, right? Meet hypothetical, man. Nah, we got JJ McCarthy. He's gonna work, right? He's gonna work. I was actually thinking about that yesterday. I was watching the game. It's like, you know what? You know what honestly kind of eases me with JJ McCarthy a little bit? And I'm just like, at this point, like, it is what it is. We'll see how JJ is next year when he plays, right? But I think one thing that's like kind of encouraging is like, I think at the bare minimum, right, for JJ McCarthy, if he's like as good as Sam Darnold, which like Darnold has been good this year and it's nice to see him get harnessed, but like it's not an insane bar, right? If JJ McCarthy is like Sam Darnold, the Vikings will be fine, right? If he's better than Sam Darnold, even by a little bit, you get a nice ceiling on this team for the next few years, right? Like if let's say he's Brock Purdy, dude, honestly, if he was Brock Purdy, that's sick. I would love if he turned out to be as good as Brock Purdy. Are you kidding me? Right? Oh man, we'd win like 12, 13 games, right? Even if he's like Sam Darnold, right? We're like, that's like an 11-win team right there, maybe. So, but that's my mentality with JJ right now. I know that might be weird to say about like the 10th overall pick at quarterback, but that's what the Vikings wanted, right? This is how they set it up, right? They set it up so that, you know what? We're going to make life as easy as possible for our quarterback, right? Hey, just don't screw it up. Justin Jefferson is going to be covered by 4 people, so we're going to have TJ Hawkinson one-on-one. Just don't screw it up, pretty much. That's all. But Ron saying Dak is just Romo all over again. Great regular season play, disappears in the postseason. I say this as a 40-year Cowboy homer. Yeah, and I will say, if you want to talk about like Dak like last season, right, that is such a bummer that like he had maybe the best year of his career. I mean, he was just firing lasers all over the field. Cowboys had one of the best offenses in the league. And again, it was like CeeDee Lamb and Jake Ferguson, and that was about it. You know, they didn't have crazy weapons outside of those two. It's not like Mike McCarthy is some football messiah or anything, right? And then they just get stomped in the playoffs again. And Dak didn't have the greatest game. And it's like, dude, that's just so tough. You know, like that is how everyone's going to remember a season. Fair or not, and I get the frustration, like the Cowboys have not gotten over the hump for a while, and the playoffs have been a problem for a while, and the Packers have been a problem for a while. So I'm not even going to say like, oh, that's unfair that like that is a big defining moment of his season, because it was. Like, it's the playoffs, man, you know, and he didn't play too well, but, you know. If they would have even won one game, if they would have even beaten the Packers and then like lost to the 49ers again, but like Dak played well, you know, I think that would really have changed the narrative around him. But, you know, not everyone can be Mahomes, you know. Henry asking, who would I like the Vikings to sign as a backup to JJ? Unironically, Daniel Jones. You know, like there's been the Daniel Jones to Vikings rumors. Like Schefter tweeted something out yesterday about that, right? There's also Daniel Jones to the Ravens rumors, but I don't know if you saw this, but yesterday Darnold actually got injured on a play. I think it was in like the third quarter against the Bears, and Darnold was down for like a minute, and then there was like a solid 2 or 3 minutes because Nick Mullins came in for like 2 plays. There was like a solid 2 or 3 minutes. It was like, oh my gosh, we're signing Daniel Jones tomorrow. Darnold's out for the year. Daniel Jones is going to be our quarterback for the rest of the year, which honestly, Daniel Jones is not good. Let's make no mistake, right? Is he one of the 32 best quarterbacks in the NFL? I honestly still think he might be, right? He might be like QB 28, but like for a backup on a loaded team, yeah, I'd take that. Let's say JJ got hurt again next year, right? Honestly, if we were going to make light of a crappy situation, I wouldn't hate Daniel Jones one bit, right? I mean, we quite literally saw Daniel Jones get system QB'd into the playoffs a few years ago, right? Dable was able to cook up with him a little bit. He can run around a little bit, right? Hey, Daniel Jones, just don't screw it up, right? Just don't screw it up, you know? So I might legitimately say Daniel Jones. Nick Mullins is fun and he brings chaos, but he also will throw like the most heinous interceptions you will ever see. He's like, yeah, I can hit this throw. I can hit JJ in double coverage, gets picked off. It's like, maybe Josh Allen could hit that throw. I don't know that you can hit that throw respectfully. Hey, there's Will Dissly padding the stats, fantasy score. Mac Jones is available. We're good. We're good. We got to see Mac Jones up close and personal a few weeks ago. Green Gandalf saying Darnold has had three injury scares this year. Yeah, he has. I know. It was like the London game too, right? He got hurt. There's been a few times it's like, oh, there you go. His season's over. We're done for, right? And he always comes back out like 2 plays later. The Xavier Rhodes special, dude, he used to do that all the time. He would have like a season-ending injury every week, only to come back a few plays later. But yeah, I was like, when Darnold got hurt last week, yesterday, I was like, no, this can't be happening. And I was like, I can't believe that like we're almost in December and I'm like scared about Sam Darnold getting hurt. Like, imagine telling me that before the season started. Like, yeah, Sam Darnold's going to go down and you're going to feel sad. I mean, obviously, I'm not going to be like, yeah, injury, Jameson Williams. But like, if you know, you know. There's a niche reference. But yeah. Anyways, national championship game be like. Ron saying, I'll never forget the time Daniel Jones tripped over the phantom water sprinkler on a breakaway touchdown a few years ago. Yeah, he nearly scored, right? That was Thursday Night Football, Giants versus Eagles 2020. Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were on the call back when they did Thursday Night Football. That was a good memory right there. I remember watching that game. Daniel Jones trips. You could just, it was like dead silence after that. Green Gandalf saying this one, I expected him to be fine based off history. I need to learn too. See, I say that, and then next week he's going to like actually be hurt or something. Please no. But 4th and 6 for the Chargers. They'll go for it, right? Oh, there's Joe and Troy. Look at them. Man, I got to say, got to tip your cap to ESPN, right? Pumping some dollars into Monday Night Football. It's got its aura back. You know, SNF had a crazy run at the top. Like, really, once I started getting into football up until like a few years ago, Sunday Night Football was king. And I still love me some Sunday Night Football, right? Like, but they don't have a monopoly on the best games anymore, right? And Al left, and I like Tarico, and he's a pro, but it's not the same as prime Al and Chris, right? You know. And like, you know, some of the big games go to Monday Night Football now. Joe and Troy might be the best duo in the business. Monday Night Football, you know, back before like I started watching football, like way back in the day, like that was the primetime game. We're starting to get back there a little bit. I like it, right? It's the only game on all day, right? I like it. If you get a stinker on Sunday night, like, that's a bummer, right? But you had a full day of football. Surely you saw some games. Monday night stinkers are the worst because that's literally the only game on, right? I'd rather have a Sunday night stinker than a Monday night stinker. Thursday night football has been kind of underrated this year, too. We've got some good Thursday night games, too. Last night's game wasn't quite as competitive as I was hoping it'd be, but how about the Eagles? Henry saying, what do I think it would take for Saquon to win the MVP over Lamar? He might actually need to hit 2K, and even then, that might be hard, right? Because there's a precedent set, like 2 of the past 3 2,000-yard rushers in the NFL have not won MVP, right? Adrian Peterson being the lone exception, right? Chris Johnson, 2009, did not win MVP. Granted, the Titans weren't very good that year. And then Derrick Henry, another Titan, right? In 2020, went for 2,000 yards. Didn't win MVP. Titans, believe, made the playoffs that year. They did, but they went to Rodgers, you know. I think, and we talked about this a tiny bit earlier, I think realistically Saquon probably finishes 3rd in MVP, right? And it also hurts Saquon's case that, like, he's got Derrick Henry to deal with, right? Because you can make the argument, it's like, well, is he even the best back in the league right now, you know? Got a fun little race for the rushing crown right now, right? I think he'll finish 3rd. But yeah, I mean, if you look at like Adrian Peterson's MVP season, right? One, he had a big narrative boost because the Vikings were terrible that year. I mean, the season before they went 3-13, I think, and they had the 3rd overall pick. I mean, they didn't have a quarterback. It was Christian Ponder, right? I mean, their line was all right. They didn't have any good receivers. Like, honestly, like, that is like the craziest carry job I've ever seen from a running back ever, legitimately. I mean, if you look at that 2012 Vikings depth chart, that was not a good team. And they won 10 games and made the playoffs. And Peterson was coming off the injury, right? And he already had a crazy reputation. And then he gets 9 yards short of breaking the single season rushing yards record. But if you look at the way he closed out the year too, right? Final 4 games of the season, he had 2 200-yard games and then a 199-yard game. I mean, his December was just insane, right? So I think that really put him over the top. But I don't know when we'll see a running back. I mean, Christian McCaffrey had a great case last year, right? Maybe not some, like, in the grand scheme of things, the quarterback seasons weren't crazy, right? CMC went insane last year. He had the touchdown streak, right? He was he was most certainly the most valuable player on the 49ers, right? He was the engine of the number 1 offense in the NFL. He didn't win it, you know. He didn't get a first place vote. Lamar and Josh got all the first place votes. So, I mean, we might need to see like 2,000 rushing yards, like 700 receiving yards, while also being on like a team that like makes the playoffs, but like the quarterback can't be too good and the line can't be like it, not to like gas up the Vikings. I mean, not that it really matters, right? Like, yeah, we got carried, but like, I mean, it would need to be like an Adrian Peterson 2012 level carry job, right? That's what's like, you could just like, well, actually Saquon was like, well, actually, the Eagles running game was still good last year too. And like, it sucks because like, it is true. And like, it's obviously better with Saquon, but it's like, like DeAndre Swift got 1,000 yards behind that line last year, right? Miles Sanders went for like 1,200 yards and was like one of the league leaders in touchdowns the year before, so yeah, I mean, it would take like an all-time season and an all-time carry job, I think. But I'm loving that we're even like having these discussions though, right? I mean, a few years ago, like, running back winning MVP, that's just utter woke nonsense, So it's good that we're at least having these conversations. But Burrow probably is getting comeback player of the year. Oh yeah, right. And we all thought I put down in my season predictions column that I thought it was for sure going to be Rodgers, but no, it has to be Burrow. He's been so good. He had the injury last year, right? He had 2 of them, really. So, yeah, it's got to be Burrow, I would say. Don't have to worry about Rodgers being in contention. Michael saying we've had 2 successful onside recoveries this season. Both have come against the Ravens. That is not true. That is, in fact, not true. And I know for a fact because it may or may not have happened against the Minnesota Vikings just as recently as yesterday. We'll see if we can get our second onside recovery of the week. But yeah, the Bears, that's how we got to overtime. The Bears recovered an onside kick against us. Johnny Munt stepped on the ball. He's trying to block and he just stepped on the ball. But CMC has not been the same. No, I mean, he came back from injury and also just like, I mean, he's 28. He's had a big injury history and like Achilles tendonitis. I mean, despite what my name says, I am not a doctor, right? I can't imagine that's good for a running back, right? Like, he just doesn't look very explosive out there. He's still obviously a great player. He's still a great receiver, but man, like watching him run yesterday, it's like he looks noticeably slower out there. So yeah, man, it's just, I mean, that's still what sucks about the running back position, right? Like, you can blink, you can have the best year of your career, and the next year it's over. I mean, not saying it's over for him, but slight Todd Gurley vibes a little bit. Just like, dang, it's over real quick. But speaking of over real quick, game solved, hitting the nail on the head. That is game. How about the big win for the Ravens? Right? Not as close as the final score might indicate, right? 7-point game, but the Ravens were able to pull this one out. Really controlled the second half of this one. They turned to King Henry, right? They turned to King Henry to close this game out. That's why they signed him. This was the element that was maybe missing from them last year. We were even talking about this in the first half, right? Derrick Henry, first quarter, didn't see the ball a whole lot, and then they remembered, actually, let's give the ball to him. And it worked. 140 yards on the ground, didn't get the touchdown, but he was a beast throughout. That run on third down, really, that might have been one of the plays of the game, honestly, right? Like, stiff-arming two guys like 4 yards behind the line of scrimmage and then getting a 5-yard run on 3rd and 1. Oh, that was sick. That was sick. Green Gandalf shocked that I'm not a doctor. Yeah, so is my family. I say that. That's a joke. That's a joke. I will say, like, the entire side, my dad's side of the family, like literally everyone is in the medical field, and I'm like, I want to be a football YouTuber, but they support me and they love me and they believe in me, and you know what? That means a lot. But not to get all sappy about my family, but I am seeing them tomorrow. That'll be exciting. But came to this channel for football analysis by a certified doctor. I am appalled. I might need to have my dad on here sometime. Oh, that'd be funny. But Pair Champ saying solid game. I think the Ravens will get their crown over the Steelers. Definitely more of a chance now, right? I mean, it's not looking good after the first quarter, but they were able to turn it around, right? Hey, we were saying first half, that Steelers schedule is going to be tough. It's going to be a test. They still play one more time, too. Always a good time in the AFC North. Always a good time on the Dr. Pigskin live streams. That's going to do it for me here today. Appreciate each and every one of you, as always, for tuning in. That was a good game, you know, all things considered. We had a lot of entertainment throughout. Chat killed it per usual, man. I mean, y'all were awesome today. We had some great conversations. Shout out Games Solved for that awesome True or False 2009 NFL quiz. That was amazing, man. I had so much fun doing that. But as always, thank you guys all for tuning in so much. I appreciate each and every single one of you. I'm going to be away for a little bit, right? I'm going home to Fargo, going to spend Thanksgiving back up north. There's snow on the ground. I'm pretty excited about that. So I'll be seeing some snow tomorrow, be out in the cold, seeing some family and friends. And I'll be going to the Vikings game this Sunday too. Vikings Cardinals, I'm going with my family. That's going to be an awesome time. So I don't know when I'll be live again. It'll probably be at least a week, but I hope you all have a great Thanksgiving. Enjoy some time with friends and family. And of course, some football too. But till next time, I will see you guys all later. Y'all have a good one. The doctor is out. Y'all have a good night and a good